out to maintain Olympics dominance, whereas the Shujaa made a false start. The Kenya camp is upbeat. It will bag medals as the opening ceremony gets underway. So you know that the rugby games in the Olympics start even before the opening ceremony. So that has already begun.
How was our start for the Shujaa?
A false start. Lost the first match. Let's see what happens in the next round.
The headline is not fair for them. Shujaas sprint to nowhere.
Yeah,
come on.
I know, it's a bit iffy, that one. So let's look and see what happens to the opening ceremony over the River Sign today. Tender, the good, bad, ugly of JKIA Indian firm deals, and what looks like it might be a bit sticky with that. New faces of the police service. President William Ruto has appointed Eliud Lagat as the Deputy Inspector General, Kenya Police Service, and Gilbert Masangeli as Deputy Inspector General, Administration Police Service, who will act as Inspector General pending the confirmation of Douglas Kanja. Safaricom is going to pay folks 48 billion shillings in dividends.
Kabisa.
Good money, Nespa.
Hey, how much per share?
I will tell you later.
Okay.
For now, Raila move fuels Azimio breakup. We see that on the front page of The Nation. Beginning of the end. The concubinage of opposition leader Raila Odinga's ODM with President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza Alliance has sparked an implosion in the Azimio La Umoja coalition after Narc Kenya, the party of Mr. Odinga's running mate in the 2022 elections, signals its exit from the outfit because they said, we cannot stand for this. I watched Mackenzie starve my wife and daughter to death.
Guy.
The court proceedings continue in the Shakahola cases. Political genius, how Ruto shifted his baggage to his rivals. So here is the monkey. How about you feed it the banana? Essentially is what we are being told. Court says, Maisha card, stop it until further notice.
For real?
Yes.
Again?
They said stop it now proper. Court puts the brakes on planned rollout of digital identity cards. Case on the constitutionality of the database is pending hearing before the High Court, and until that is done, you will not be doing what? Maisha carding.
There was a previous case on the same Maisha card. Okay, go on.
I think there are a couple, actually. Probe on after doctor plunges to his death. The last known communication that Dr. Keith McCorry sent out before he fell to his death from the 8th floor of an apartment building in Kikuyu was to his girlfriend.
What? Okay.
Here comes your next police boss, Kanja named to top post, and lights, camera, action. The Paris Olympics show gets underway.
Business Daily. Traders on edge as KRA goes for old unpaid taxes. The Kenya Revenue Authority has written to scores of businesses notifying them of overdue VAT balances that were accrued before the introduction of the iTax system in 2014, potentially hitting those unable to provide proof of payment with bills running into millions of shillings. iTax came into operation in 2014. Before that, there was the other older system. Now, KRA cannot reconcile, and they're telling you, you reconcile and you pay. So, okay. Then there's a photo here of police arresting activist Boniface Mwangi on Kenyatta Avenue in Nairobi during anti-government protests yesterday. He's basically being held by two cops, but he is up in the air, and the cops are holding him with one hand each. Hey, lakini wamenyanyua yeye wamerusha yeye uko ndani. I don't know what they trained at Kiganjo bwana. Hey, a cop one shakas you like this at the back of your trousers and
another one
dangling in the air.
My friend, you're going to be walking on your toes.
Imagine. And it's just one guy, one hand. The Nairobian, today is Friday, we have the Nairobian. Quarry body parts when the dead return in bizarre dreams to haunt the living. And this is basically looking at that. What's going on in Quarry, by the way? Has it ended? What happened?
As is usually the case with things like this, after some time we go quiet.
There was a time when there was a fire that was lit in that whole entire, garbage pit.
Then it went quiet.
Then the whole story has gone quiet. And then we don't know, they got someone in custody. Kid protesters, fears of students joining Gen Z. Well, Olympic debutants flying Kenya's colors in Paris. They are featuring those ones who are going for the first time into the Olympics. From glory to glory.
Hallelujah.
Oparanya has taste for the finer things in life. And there's a photo here that was released by somebody, and Oparanya came and said, yes, that is my girlfriend.
So what's
the problem?
I love
that story came to an end.
Quickly. Tell
So
your truth,
Oparanya
my
and his
friends.
girlfriend here. Okay? From the courts, man charged with destroying girlfriend's items. Man charged with destroying girlfriend's items.
It's the cheeky glint in this guy's eye.
This guy.
Items, bwana.
Items, Thamos.
He's not just reading the things. Kama aliangusha thermos flask. Thermos flask.
Sio ni
ilianguka.
items.
Yes, the only items.
Yeah.
Hata Byron ni items.
Hata hiyo ni items. He was charged for. I'll tell you the story. The main headline in the Nairobian this week: the rise of first Maasai woman to become a cabinet secretary. She's the first Maasai woman, if approved by Parliament. Well, no, she has already been.
No, still first.
First cabinet.
Not wrong there.
Woman to be a Maasai first woman cabinet secretary from the Maasai.
What are you doing?
Soipan Tuya of Love, Breakup and Defense, heroine of villain, beautiful and brainy, US-trained CS nominee has fought many battles from family, court and public arena. Soipan now finds herself in the deep end of the defense docket. It'll be interesting to see how she navigates her way. There was a group of women that came out yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, yes, to address a media conference. And they were basically complaining and saying, no, this is wrong. Because after the announcement of Soipan Tuya as the nominee in the defense docket, there was a lot of social media content that was basically just deemed as bullying, cyberbullying. And it was very inappropriate, and it was very unfair on her, because it seems to suggest that she's not capable.
And who,
and there's nothing to prove.
In your opinion, did they think was capable?
It was basically unfair targeting of Soipan Tuya just because of her gender.
And even hate speech.
That was completely horrible, horrendous, wrong.
Karibu kabich of kala kabisa.
Totally. What's on the star?
Right, top right-hand corner. In what did you call that brown again?
Burnt orange.
Burnt orange.
Well done. City got it last week. Well done.
Very good. CSR. What next? Gen Z? Question mark. Kenya faces a crisis among its youth population. That is true. The youth are not where the crisis is. The youth are the ones who are bringing about the crisis. The real crisis is in the political class. However, it is not my paper, it is not my title. That was me just giving a little add-on to it.
Okay.
Raila endorses let me start again. Instead of reading, here I am making up my own stories as I go along. Let me read. Raila endorses cabinet deal as mix-up. Mix-up deepens. Opposition chief Raila Odinga on Thursday endorsed the nomination of his key lieutenants to President William Ruto's cabinet. I will tell you more about that. Lawmakers okay 3.5 billion budget for cops pay raise. I also agree. Waongezwe mshahara. Fully. Police officers are headed for a windfall. It's not windfall, man, just rightful dues. Following the National Assembly's approval of an additional 3.5 billion budget for their pay increase. Well done. Now improve their housing, for heaven's sake.
Wow.
Yes, these pigsties they've been staying in are not houses. Let them have decent housing. Now, bang in the middle of the paper, cut to size. He'd vowed to lay traps at State House to block Odinga. Why Ruto Raila deal puts Riggy G in a tight spot. I'm reading the headline, the bang in the middle of the paper. Right? Does it really? Does it really? Okay? Just because someone took his tongue and tied it around his neck doesn't mean that he's in a tight spot.
No.
No. There's a picture, though, of the president. President has seemingly freed himself from Mount Kenya political bondage. Now, first of all, who said he was in bondage?
To begin with.
The president. These guys seem to be suggesting the president was in bondage. Where? The man seemed to be willy-nilly, freely going, come on, man. I mean, anyway, there's a picture of the president and the deputy, and with a lady called Josephine Kadhambi at Nkasarane village in Tharaka-Nithi County after Kadhambi's house was connected to the power grid on Thursday. Kadhambi, that power grid, when you're connected to it, you're also connected to paying for it. So, be knowing it's coming. Yes. Yes, so that is. Picture of happy lady, happy president, trying to be happy.
Everybody's with happiness.
No. The deputy is trying to be happy.
Watu wamefurahi.
No, kuna yeye anajaribu kufurahi.
Kuna wengine wanaonesha tu happiness.
Yes, wengine meno iko nje na iko furaha mingi. Nasema well done, electricity. Yes.
Okay.
That is the star.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Let's start from the very beginning. A
Start
very
from the
good
top.
place to start. Now, the ramifications of cabinet pact cut deep. Let's look at that, because at the afternoon yesterday we saw people flying out of coalitions, and we saw the president in campaign mode yesterday properly.
Nice.
From Tharaka-Nithi to Mombasa in the evening.
He is back, my friend. He was in bondage.
Like he never left. Bondage out.
He was in bondage.
The shackles have
for
dropped.
like some 3 weeks like this.
He
Man.
didn't even breathe. But now, as those things were going on,
He's out saying tumeweka milioni 250
he has already told people
ya
tutaweka
kuweka stima hapa
3 million.
na tutajenga
He's already saying
KMTC.
tutajenga, tutaweka,
Nimekuja
tutapanga.
kuanzisha na hapa TVET nitafungua ingine ambayo tutajenga hostel ya
Watu wa
TVET.
Tharaka-Nithi mnataka
Sasa,
barabara ama mtaki?
ama mtaki barabara. Wala wanataka barabara, hebu tuone kwa mkono na stima. Kuna nyumba
Nani
ambazo
anataka
hazina
stima? Ama
stima.
nani hataki stima hapa? That is exactly what he was saying yesterday.
Watu hapa Kasarani tumewawekea stima. Juzi hawako na stima, leo wanawasha stima.
Come on. Boy, heck, does it get any better
Na
than
walikuwa
that?
wanasema tufunge finance bill. Ama mnataka aje?
All right.
Ama namna gani, my friend?
Yes.
Campaign mode full. That's where he is. Now, we're looking at how Kalonzo is now left holding Azimio baby as Raila and Karua bolt. Bolt to where?
Even Raila has gone.
He has left. I've cooked for you guys, then me I
even
leave the
Raila
house.
has
You guys sit down there. Oh my God. The turbulent waters of politics have hit again and seemingly swamped the opposition, leaving Azimio leaders fighting for political survival. Although the coalition leaders still insist they are together, we're together. The unfolding development has scattered its leadership and left Kalonzo Musyoka holding the watermelon. Holding
The baby.
the baby.
Are they holding the bathwater or the baby?
Yeah, can you hold water?
Anashika baby, brother. Anashika baby.
It looks like he's holding
So
water.
where's the water? Who has thrown away the water?
Yesterday, as Kalonzo led Azimio leaders to a press conference in the absence of its major partner, ODM, coalition member NAC, Kenya was drafting its exit notice. While they were doing the press conference, some Aisha was writing a letter. But in a separate statement, in a separate statement, ODM leader Raila Odinga insisted that neither his party nor Azimio had entered into any coalition agreement with President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza. Okay, if it quacks like a duck, it's a donkey in this case. On party members joining government, Raila said, while we extend our best wishes to the nominees and trust that they will contribute positively to national development, we continue to advocate for a national engagement under the conditions we have previously outlined. Previously outlined in the NADCO report. Okay. Moments after the press conference, Martha Karua, Raila's running mate in the last general election, issued notice of withdrawing her party, NAC Kenya, from Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition, saying its stay no longer tenable owing to prevailing political developments. Take that as you may. In the letter dated July 25th, addressed to Junet Mohammed, who is the Azimio Secretary General, Asha Bashir, who signed off as NARC Kenya's acting Secretary General, stated that the notice is effective from the date of this letter. They went on and said things. But now, Karua had said they quote her in a radio interview being this one.
Hawezi tusema
akiwa the situation, but it's okay. We keep it moving. She said the coalition had not taken stock of where it is at the moment and where it may be necessary to. From where I sit, I think it is over. Yani, Karua said leaders are expected to meet on Monday and make an announcement. And on incorporation of ODM members in Ruto's cabinet, Karua said, I was not surprised because that's Ruto's modus operandi, his way of working. In recent weeks, Kalonzo has insisted that he's against working with the government. Yesterday, Kalonzo said he had not been offered any position in Ruto's administration.
Surely.
And he's not interested in any.
So,
do those words sound familiar to you?
I mean,
he has not been offered and he's not interested in any. The day is still young,
now
my
that he has
friends.
not been offered.
The day is still young, my friend. See, it's Friday at 6:47.
Remember NADCO created an office called Leader of Opposition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like things are going
The way they're going.
Yeah.
It's like things are going the way they're going.
This way, that way, my friend.
Wow,
this is that song that is in the hymn books.
Which one?
Nearer, my God, to thee. Sure.
This one seems more like when peace like a river tendeth my soul.
It is well.
It is well. Kwa sababu, this one.
Kuna vile.
And then, and yet, there's an omission to this story. And this is the omission that is actually going to cause the turmoil. It is not business as usual. I mean, our politicians would like... No, let me state it again. The political class that has been accustomed to being dominant in the country seem to believe that it is business as usual. Unfortunately, it isn't. The Gen Z are not really going anywhere, are they?
They shouldn't.
They're not going anywhere.
The political class is really trying to, push this thing in so the Gen Z get back into the bottle.
Yes, exactly.
The Gen Z back into the bottle.
The Gen Z left the bottle. It's not going
Aladdin
to go.
rubbed the lamp and the Gen Z came out. Now they're trying to get them to get back.
Yes, that's what they're trying. But that isn't quite going to work.
It shouldn't.
Yes. Actually, it is not going to work.
It will not.
I'm telling you, it will not work. It will not work. It will not work.
Because I've seen several conversations. Okay, so now you Gen Z, the best way for you to do is organize yourselves for 2027.
No.
Form a party, register yourselves. But the Gen Z are not a homogeneous
what on
political
earth are you telling
unit.
people? They know what they want to do. Why are you insisting? If you want to form a party, form a party.
You
by all
form a
means.
party.
And then wait for 2027 for heaven's sake.
We're asking for accountability now. Asking for responsibility today.
Yes.
Proper management of government today.
Yes.
Not
By whoever is in
And
office
by the way,
today.
have you seen in the papers any advert by the Gen Z movement that they are looking for advisors? Have you seen them asking people to advise them? Come on, man. They're not asking for your advice.
Yeah, cheers, but no.
They've got this thing covered.
We're good.
Yeah, you Gen Z, now, because
you need to think now.
Okay, suggesting
this noise of now is anarchist.
It's not anarchist.
You want to overthrow the government.
When people are telling you things you don't want to hear, that's not anarchy.
It's the truth.
It's called speaking truth to power. We're not very familiar with it, but this is what it is. And the reason why it is unique, these uncharted waters are disturbing. That's the whole problem. Because now, as we wait for Parliament to convene and do the endorsement, blah, 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 it's going to be interesting. Let's watch. Let's wait and see. This thing is not going anywhere, man.
It's out.
No.
It's out.
The political, yes?
It may just, bubble under. But it's there.
Why it is that this thing can't go anywhere. These Gen Zs aren't aliens. These are our brothers. They are our sisters. They are our nephews. They are our nieces. They are our children.
Yeah.
Where do you think they are going to go?
Where else?
Where are they going to go?
Kuna.
And you certainly think that just because there's been some political movements which we are accustomed to in this country, that suddenly that particular light is going to be dimmed. Where? It's going to shine even brighter. Because such movements simply tell you this is why accountability is necessary.
Yep.
Because if there isn't accountability, the political class have a tendency of running amok.
We have seen this many times, and I was actually even having a conversation elsewhere. We see this all the time. On this show, we keep asking citizens, why are we not active citizens?
Yes.
Why do we assume that an election is an event, and once you've elected people into office, then you retreat, and then come back and start complaining, and then wait for the next election so that you can take action and you vote somebody out? You should be active throughout. And this is what the Gen Z are doing now. They're just saying, we're going to be active throughout. The political class is used to that other side, where once an election is over, the winners basically just go around town saying, we won, we beat you, shut up. Okay? So you talk to us again next time when we shall meet again in the field and we shall beat you again. Tutawashinda. Tuliwashinda, mnyamaze, mtulie.
Keep quiet.
Keep quiet. And in the meantime, so anytime you find there's any kind of contrarian opinion, you're always branded as you belong to those guys.
Yeah, you're one of them.
You're one of them. You're the opposition. You are working with so-and-so who's starting campaigning early for the next election. Every small meeting, even at the county level, people are participating on CIDP. If somebody rises up to have a contrary view, I told, huyu alikuwa na nani? Ni wale watu wa Azimio, ni wale watu wa UDA, ni wale watu wa Kenya Kwanza, depending on where you are. Right? You mlishindwa bwana, kaa chini. This is how we're going to do this thing. That is contributing to CIDP, contributing to budget. This is how it happens. But now the Gen Z are saying, I am partyless. I am unaffiliated politically. I am speaking as a citizen.
And I'm tribeless.
And I am tribeless.
I'm aware you're not accustomed to this, but that is exactly what I am.
And I am demanding accountability, not because I belong to the other side.
No.
Don't think that because you've brought the other side into government, then now I have also entered government. No. No. I still remain as a citizen. There's a sad story here on page 3 of The Nation today. The last known communication that Dr. Keith Makori sent out before he fell to his death from the 8th floor of an apartment building in Kikuyu was to his girlfriend. On that fateful Saturday night, July 20th, Makori, who was being hosted by one of his friends at the apartment in the Kidfamako area, called his girlfriend a few minutes before 11 p.m. and expressed suicidal thoughts. The unidentified woman immediately called the host and notified him about her boyfriend's distress call. On receiving the call, the host, whom police are yet to name, rushed back to the house only to find the medic sprawled on the ground with injuries on the head, both legs broken, and bleeding from the mouth and nose. He immediately called an ambulance, but unfortunately, Makori was declared dead on arrival at the Karen Hospital. It is this puzzle of the death of the youthful doctor the detectives are attempting to unravel in a bid to answer the question that his family is asking. The report that we have is that the deceased one Keith Makori alias Mandela committed suicide by throwing himself from the 8th floor of an apartment in Kikuyu. That's according to Bernard Kirui, the Kikuyu Sub-County Police Commander. Our preliminary investigations point to that, but conclusively, we await the post-mortem examination report to independently say what really happened. Before the plunge to death, Dr. Makori was being hosted at the apartment after he relocated to Nairobi from Nakuru, where he previously worked as the Chief Finance Officer at Kotani Pay, a fintech company. He previously served as the Head of Research and Strategy at iConnect Global, Head of Research at EOS Nairobi, and Community Manager at the African Digital Asset Foundation, according to his LinkedIn profile. He had interest in blockchain technology, adding to his background as an accountant, researcher, and a medical doctor. Dr. Makori is passionate about the use of technology to offer inclusivity and to improve quality of life. That's according to his bio. Without mentioning names, police are saying that several people who were in contact with the deceased on the fateful day had recorded statements to aid with investigations. None of them is being treated as a suspect. The Nation understands that Makori's body has since been moved to Umash Funeral Home in Nakuru. When contacted, his father, George Makori, declined to comment about the uncertainty surrounding the death of his son. His mother, Gladys, said the sudden loss of their son had left the family devastated, and they're still looking for answers. Imagine. Young, very promising. He was a medical doctor. He was a researcher. He had studied accounting. He had an interest in IT, in blockchain. Calls a girlfriend, says something. Next thing, he's down on the floor.
The mental health story that has taken the backwaters of our discussion should re-emerge. We should actually give it a little more attention because it actually didn't go away.
It's not going anywhere.
No, it hasn't gone anywhere. If anything, with what we are seeing right now, it's likely to get worse. Yes.
It's not gone anywhere. And we keep ignoring it. I know, and one of those things that just... a government task force has actually said this is a serious issue. Of all the cases that report to hospital for whatever, most of those cases are mental health related. Most. And this is according to psychologists and psychiatrists and other medics who sat together in a group brought together by the government as a task force to look at the mental health and mental wellness of this country.
And said things are bad.
Yes. Let's take it seriously. City, tell us a story, City.
Yes. This one. I was thinking about what my headline would have been if I were asked to give a headline to one of the papers today. And I would have said, this one, of politics, treachery, and other short stories. Okay, so now let's look at other short stories, shall we? The one which caught my attention, the one I like, the one I really genuinely like, is MPs approve 3.5 billion budget for police officers' pay. This one I like. Police officers are headed for windfall following, I don't like this word windfall, National Assembly's approval of additional 3.5 billion budget to cater for their pay increase. President William Ruto on Wednesday said that more than 150,000 personnel will get a pay rise. The percentage of the pay rise will be announced later. This is one of the pledges Ruto made to the police service. MPs on Wednesday backed the recommendation of the budget committee, which provided the cash to enhance the wages. We recommend an increase of 3.5 billion to enhance wages for the police officers. A task force chaired by former Chief Justice David Maraga last year recommended a pay rise for the police, prisons, and NYS officers. The National Police Service, Prison Service, and National Youth Service officers were to get a 40% salary increase. Good. The salary increment was to be implemented in phases over 3 years, but faced financial hurdles starting with the COVID-19 outbreak. Move in the right direction. Now, if they could do something similar with the medical interns, this would be a wonderful thing. And one could even say that we live in a wonderful country. Yes.
Well, there have been budget cuts, and there are cuts where the parliament has refused to cut budgets.
Yes.
For example, we really cannot cut budgets of those offices, the office of the First Lady, Second Lady, Third Lady, whatever they're called, because there are people who are working there, and you can't just terminate their contracts like that willy-nilly.
Actually,
You've got to put money into paying off those contracts if you terminate them.
You know something? That is lopsided logic.
Wacha tutonge siku ingine. It's 7 a.m. News time.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. 60 people are now known to have died in anti-government protests, according to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. The commission says 66 other people allegedly kidnapped by police are still missing. This comes even as another round of protests was witnessed on Thursday as activists marched in the Nairobi CBD to demand justice for the victims of the demos. Police lobbed tear gas to disperse the demonstrators who decried police brutality and vowed to keep fighting for justice.
Instead of the police providing the protection, instead of the police coming to guide the protesters, what we saw earlier today is that tear gas was used, ammunition was used against the same protesters. Now, Mr. Boniface Mwangi is being held at the Kamukunji police station.
It is clear that the president supports. It is clear that the officers the state officers are okay with everything that's happening, and they are encouraging it. If there was any deterrent, we would not be seeing this much force.
The office of the president immediately calls for the suspension of all officers highlighted in the social media using excessive force pending finalization of investigations. Comrades, power.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula is expected to officially inform President William Ruto about Parliament's move to scrap in its entirety the controversial Finance Bill 2024. This follows Thursday's vote during a committee of the whole House. The vote means that no provision that was contained in the bill shall have legal effect.
Delete everything, including the bill's name, which is the title of the bill. The Finance Act of 2024-2025 is therefore deleted, and I want to urge all of you to support the deletion of the name Finance Bill 2024-2025. It is the first time we are deleting the title. What led the President to delete even the title, Honorable Speaker, is subject to discussions in the history of this House.
Honorable members, I propose the question that Clause 1 be deleted as recommended by His Excellency the President. I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the President's recommendations to the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2024, and its approval thereof without amendments, therefore deleting all the clauses of the bill.
And as the MPs debated to scrap the bill, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah regretted that Kenyans were misinformed about it.
Again, Honorable Speaker, without belaboring the point, Kenyans were told that sanitary towels, diapers, will be subject to excise duty. Further from the truth, Honorable Speaker, what was sought to be done by this bill was to only levy excise duty on fully finished products. We'll take corrective measures to still protect our local manufacturers, to protect the jobs of young Kenyans who are working in those 10 industries producing locally. I beg to move, to delete, and kill all these things, Honorable Speaker. As good as they are dead.
Honorable members, I now put the question that clauses 36 through to clause 42 be deleted as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Transporters will not be going on strike today as planned after they held talks with the government. They suspended the strike after meeting officials from the Ministry of Roads and Transport and other players, including the National Transport and Safety Authority. They had called for the strike after the government increased the road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings per litre of petrol and diesel. In West Pokot County, residents are on high alert as landslides are expected following heavy rains in the region. Already 2 villages in Pokot South sub-county have experienced small landslides after a week-long downpour. Residents have started moving to safer grounds as the rains and landslides have destroyed farms and homes. In 2020, more than 50 people were killed as landslides destroyed property and displaced more than 1,500 people in the region. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Traffic this morning building up on the Thika Superhighway as you come through towards Survey, and we're seeing some of that on Kiambu Road as well, going towards Muthaiga Square. It's not looking too bad, but we'll see a trickle of traffic coming in from before the Allsop stage, and just watch out for that. Let's take a look at Jogoo Road. Traffic starting to build as you get towards the City Stadium roundabout, and then there at the exit of Landys Road. So that's what looks busy there. Manyanja Road is starting to pile as well as you get out towards Lunga. That's going to build up. All right, Eastern Bypass through to North Airport Road out towards Cabanas. Very, very busy this morning. In and outbound traffic is doing the business properly. Also looking at traffic that's coming in through different parts off of Ngong Road onto Kingara Road and then through towards James Gishuru, which is going to spill over to the Red Hill Link Road. Friday morning looks like it's going to be a busy one coming towards the end of this month. Just keep an eye on things and see what's happening. Talk to us. What's going on in your neck of the woods? If you find some traffic, let us know. Folks can use an easier route. SpiceFM, KE on X. Hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This is the only way to start your day or to conclude your day or to have in the middle of your day. Wherever you are tuned in across the globe, welcome to The Situation Room. It's the second hour of the show this morning. And we are live on KTN Home. We are live on SpiceFM, the fastest growing English radio station in the region. We're also live on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on X. Where else? On Instagram. Okay. Tuko kila mahali unapofikiria kwenda utatupata. All right. Britam has been talking to us about how to better invest and put your money in. Sindio, right? And that's why we talk about putting money in something that grows. What is it called?
money market fund
There you go.
and the smart yield accounts.
How does it work?
So what you do essentially is that you take the money out of your sock from under your mattress. Don't put it there anymore, guys. And say, put it in one of these funds. And you actually watch it grow. With a short to mid-term fund, you see that grow at 13.5%. With the long term, like the smart yield, you see that grow at 14%. So take that money, put it in the account, put it in the fund, watch it grow, and don't just put the money under the mattress, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
In addition to that, if you open an account or if you fund your account today with just 1,000 shillings, you're going to do 3 things actually. You make the payment, you will take a screenshot of that payment, and then you will DM SpiceFM KE on any of our platforms, and then in turn you could win 5,000 shillings today.
Evo.
Like that.
How do you put money and open an account and then start saving with the Britam Money Market Fund? It's very simple. Go to the website ke.britam.com. You will find a tab at the top of the page written Save and Invest. Click on that tab. It'll open a new page where you'll see the various options. Go for the Money Market Fund or the Britam Smart Yield. We asked them and they said they're sorting out the Smart Yield issue. And then you click on Start Investing. And then you select the kind of options. They'll bring you a form there. Fill out the form required. It'll ask you how much do you want to invest, how regularly do you want to be topping up, how long do you want to invest for. They ask you even, what is your plan? I mean, what do you want to say? Are you saving for? Maybe you're saving for education, you're saving to build a house, you're saving to acquire a new property, you're saving to buy a car, you're saving to whatever. Just select any of those options in the drop down and then start saving. Okay? And it's that simple. Once you do that, they'll ask you promo code, tell them SpiceFM. Ndio wajue ya kwamba wewe na sisi same WhatsApp. Okay? The next 1 hour, we want to talk about university education, and this is not the traditional sense of university where, you carry your box, you go, you line up, admission, and then did you sign up with KUPS? Did you get a letter from KUPS? Has he told you to come? Do you have help? Different. This is basically a new way of university education in Kenya. The Open University of Kenya is an initiative of the government to basically extend access to university education. And so the government of Kenya worked very hard behind the scenes and launched the Open University of Kenya. The Vice Chancellor of that, the acting Vice Chancellor, is Professor Elijah Omwenga. He's our guest this morning. Prof, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you very much for having me.
Karibu sana. You see, just like you, even us guys are everywhere, right? You can tune into the Situation Room from Timbuktu if you so wish. Just like you can study at the Open University of Kenya if you are in Timbuktu,
correct,
if you so wish. CT will tell you, will give you the day's proverb, and of course, your job is to listen to the proverb and give us your interpretation of it.
Okay.
This week, he's been giving us proverbs from the Ebu, give us the proper official name of this union, republic, unions.
It's the Union of the Comoros.
Just that. There's no republic, nothing.
It is a republic.
So it's called the Union of the Comoros.
Yes. I give a brief history and mention how it is that, one, if you really want to go into it, in 1 minute, it was first of all a province of the French Madagascar. That was in 1914. Then it became French Overseas Territory in 1948. Then it got internal autonomy, 22nd December 1961. Independence now from France in July 1975, and a federal republic in 1978. Now the union that we speak of, that includes Grand Comoros, Oneli, Anjouan, and Mayotte, that came in 2001. Yes, that's why we refer to it as the union.
The island now.
Visiwa hivyo zote ukiziunga zote pamoja zinaitwa nini? Union. Yes.
It's like a federacy.
Sasa wewe bwana umeelewa vizuri sana.
Haya bwana.
Right. The proverb. A chicken with beautiful plumage does not sit in a corner.
A chicken with beautiful plumage does not sit in a corner. Prof, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
What is the adjective there? A chicken with what?
Beautiful plumage.
Oh, plumage does not sit
In a corner. Yes.
Well,
Adjective is beautiful.
I think the proverb is trying to express the fact that if you have a good thing, you don't have to keep it somewhere and let it rest there. It will go out there and introduce itself. It will have an opportunity to express the beauty. Because beauty is shared, beauty is appreciated. Beauty is not just for oneself or the chicken alone. It's also in the eyes of the beholder.
Yes.
I'm looking at it is from the context of the Open University. We are here.
Perfect.
That we've been established. We are that beautiful chicken that is not sitting somewhere in a corner waiting, but coming out so that people are able to appreciate that beauty and share in the goodness of it.
That is very well put. In fact, that is exactly where my mind was. I was thinking something as wonderful and something as beautiful as an open university is something that should be talked about openly.
Yeah. So, Prof, open the doors to the Open University of Kenya for us. What is it?
Thank you so much, KTN and Standard Group, for this opportunity on SpiceFM. My name, as already mentioned, is Elijah Omwenga. I hold a PhD in computer science, an area I cherish very much. And right now, I'm holding brief as the Vice Chancellor in acting capacity at the Open University of Kenya. The university was established last year, 23rd of August, through a charter by the Head of State, His Excellency the President, under Section 24(1)(b) of the Universities Act. That's a very important section because it sets the university apart. It states that the government shall establish an open university for strategic interest. An open university, in this case, specialized university for strategic interest. And with that act and the charter given on the 3rd of August, we were given the platform, both legally and administratively, to establish the university. And so far, we have admitted students and we are running. The university is fully established. The Open University is based in Konza, Technopolis. For purpose of administrative management, we have a presence there. But its operations, delivery and management is online. It is arguably the first fully fledged online university in the region, but of course supported by our partners through MOUs for various aspects of the practical lessons that our students must go through. The university's vision is an innovative university for inclusive prosperity. That vision is very intentional. Inclusive here is the keyword, because one of the principles of the Open University, and indeed open universities in general, is to ensure everybody has a chance to have higher education. As you're aware, education is a right, and even Article 43, Article 55, 56 of the Constitution, we talk about inclusivity all the way to the marginalized, the youth empowerment and others. The second very important framework is that of flexibility, which is a very distinguishing feature of the Open University of Kenya. Flexibility in terms of admission and also stepping in and stepping out. Flexibility in terms of the mode of payment of fees, which is very supportive to those who don't have all the fees all at once. And the third very important principle of the Open University is access. We have invested technology in the range and like of what I'm seeing here at SpiceFM. The latest state-of-the-art technology is what you're using to deliver the programs and enable our students. That's the third very important principle. And also, we are an affordable university. It's one of the principles of open university. It has to address those who are not very endowed materially. And the university, because it is for strategic interest, is actually a project of the government. It's within the better model to ensure everybody everywhere in the world, within the country and beyond, is able to afford university education. For strategic interest, the programs which are of impact to the economy and the government. And number 5 is quality. In all these things, we ensure that the university eschews the principles of highest levels of quality. So those are the 5 principles that underpin the Open University of Kenya, the virtual university truly committed to innovation and excellence.
Prof, what is the idea, the concept behind Open University? Because if it's about e-learning, if it's about virtual access to virtual learning or distance learning, that is already available in various, or the other universities can do that. So why have a university that's solely focusing on virtual learning?
Very good. I think it's not a question of virtual learning, maybe just to rephrase. The Open University is much bigger than the concept of its virtual mode. Virtual learning is just a delivery mechanism. The knowledge is the same. The professors are same but highly trained, and virtuality, the online platforms, just a mode of instruction. Here we are focusing on things like inclusivity, where we recognize prior learning. Students or learners who didn't have the grade, for example, C+, which is the cutoff under the COOPS model of admission, those students are having the opportunity now to go to higher education programs, because if they have filled the gap that will enable them have the attitude, the skills, and their capabilities to do the rigors of academic programs at university level, we admit them so long as they can prove that ever since they had their D or their C, they have made up through a short course lasting about 3 months, 2 or 3 of them, through a diploma, through work experience, through experience in the actual areas which are relevant to the program that you are pursuing. So 7 different criteria which are unique to the Open University of Kenya and nowhere else.
I see.
That is one of the distinguishing features, inclusivity, bringing everybody who has the interest, the desire to have higher education, and not limited by just one exam where one didn't make it at that particular point in time.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. I mean, because that sounds that, it's a completely different shift here.
Yes.
We know that to get into university in Kenya, the Commission for University Education and all the universities will require you to have met a certain criteria. You must go up to Form 4, or secondary education. You must sit an exam, and you must score a certain grade and above to get admitted to public or private university in Kenya. And you're saying now for Open University, those are not the same rigorous requirements that are required, that are set.
They are the ones we are using are equally rigorous.
Okay.
And they are approved by the Commission for University Education. That's the reason we were chartered.
Okay.
And I want to give you a list of those items of criteria. Number 1, to come to the Open University, you need to have a mean grade of C+ and above, just like what the rest of other universities are using, COOPS, KCSE, or you have a diploma or professional qualifications from a recognized institution, or you have a KCSE certificate or equivalent and a certificate of foundation or bridging courses from recognized institution, or Kenya Advanced Certificate of Education. I'm sure, Eric, you didn't do that. With a minimum of one principal and a subsidiary pass. Those of us who went through that mode of education recognize this all the time. Or evidence of KCSE certificate or equivalent, and a portfolio of the recognition for prior learning. So if you have accumulated
you
grade,
must have up to Form 4 education.
Well, generally, yes.
You must have sat KCSE.
Yes, but let me finish the last one here. Evidence of certificate or equivalent and a portfolio for the purpose of recognition of prior learning, which is a policy approved by this country of Kenya, determined with respect to workplace training of 2 years, or work experience in a relevant field of 2 years, or 2 short courses lasting at least 3 months each in relevant field, any other qualification that may be determined by the Senate recognizing prior learning leading to equivalence of the identified criteria, experience, and skills of learners, or a bachelor's degree from an institution recognized by Senate. The reason why I cut it short to underscore this fact is that any other qualification that Senate may determine from time to time. So your question on they must have a C or rather Form 4 is correct, but there is this other one here. Senate may determine from time to time others which are not necessarily listed here, and then have them approved by the Commission for University Education, which is the regulator of higher education in Kenya.
Through recognition of prior learning.
Yes, which is a policy approved last year by the government of the Republic of Kenya. And we are using that policy here to ensure that our students are not marginalized and recognizing that inclusivity.
So does this university sit in the same place as other public universities in Kenya?
Precisely, yes. We are one of the public chartered university enjoying all the benefits and also embracing all the challenges which are there at higher education like any other university. But now, as already mentioned, for strategic interests of the country, which is the 5 principles that I mentioned.
What is the current number of students enrolled in the Open University?
Thank you very much for that question. We are not even a year old, and we already have 10,000 students who have signed up. Signing up means expressing an interest. We see your online university, you express an interest, and then you put in all your certificates and your CV, and we select from those who have completed that process, and we have admitted 3,300 students. Out of those who have been admitted, we have enrolled. Enroll means you've expressed you're in class, you're going through the various activities of the course, about 1,400 students. And these 1,400 students, they are now separated into semester 1 and semester 2. Within the short period of time, not even a year, we already have admitted 2 cohorts of students. The first semester ended and they did an exam. Well, we're calling them semesters, but really it is a flexible mode of way of cohorting students. And now we have a second semester, which is running with new, fresh students whom we have admitted.
Could you tell us a little bit about your fee structure?
Thank you. We, as I've already mentioned, one of the principles of open university is affordability. The fee structure is such that it's pegged on what's existing already, and it's about 1/3 of the fees that is charged in other public universities. For example, the course Data Science, Bachelor of Data Science, a very popular course, has attracted the largest number of students, and we charge 105,000 Kenya shillings per year. Most of the universities in Kenya, public universities, are charging about 300,000, others up to 400,000 for the same course. The reason why we are much affordable is, one, our infrastructure. Though the government has invested heavily on the technology we are using, is available for massification. We can have so many students for the same number of lecturers because of the technology which has enabled us to do that. Secondly, we are not investing in physical infrastructure, which is generally very expensive, but we are investing in virtual infrastructure, for example, for the virtual laboratories which students must engage with, and entering into MOUs for areas that we need practical aspect that students must go through. So that is the reason why it is much more affordable. In fact, going into the future, that fees is going to reduce when we have more students to the tune of thousands, to the tune of tens of thousands.
And when one talks of fees in a Kenyan setting, there's always the discussion of installment.
Yes.
Yes. How many installments is one allowed to pay this 105,000 shillings in?
That's a very good question, and I want to quote the Arizona State University, which is one of our partners, and they told us one of the reasons it's one of the universities of choice in America is because of the social mobility approach. Social mobility here means tuition is paid at the end of the program. Can you imagine? That is Arizona State University, which is one of our part. At the end of the program, you come in without any fees and you pay at the end. This is to encourage and accelerate graduates into the job market. And once you're in the job market, then you can continue paying your fees. That is Arizona State University. At the Open University, we are using a somewhat similar model where students come in, you pay a small amount of fees, maybe a quarter of the fees, and once you've paid, you are allowed to continue learning, getting the resources and the tuition that is required. And before you sit exam, we encourage you to have finished your exam. The installments are not limited. You can pay any amount anytime, so long as once you come in, you pay a percentage of the fees. And before exams, we encourage students to have finished their fees.
This installment that one pays when one enters,
yes,
is it pegged to a certain figure?
Yes, it's about, in a semester of, for example, 100,000 and 5,000, which is the amount for most of the programs, in fact almost all the undergraduate programs. Per semester, that's about 50,000 and 52,500. A quarter of that is approximately 10,500. So we are encouraging students who come in to make sure they pay about a quarter of that fees for the semester. It's about 10,000 Kenya shillings you get in, and the rest you pay in small installments. Any amount of money, 500 you drop in, 600 you drop in, 1,000 you drop in.
So upon admission, you pay the quarter.
You pay a quarter,
and then you enroll.
Then you enroll.
You begin,
and then you raise the rest in any number of installments. Our systems are so flexible that they allow you to pay from anywhere through the e-citizen platform, of course. And before exams, we encourage students to have completed their fees.
Let's take a break. It's a very, very interesting conversation that we're having this morning. The Open University of Kenya. Have you heard about it? Well, when did you receive your charter? On the 3rd of August?
On the 3rd of August last year.
2023.
In a very colorful ceremony presided over by the president himself.
Already there are 1,400 students who are enrolled and they're going through various programs, and Professor Omwenga will tell us those programs are. Professor Omwenga is Professor Elijah Omwenga. He's the acting Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Kenya. The office is at the Konza Technopolis, but the university is available everywhere in the world.
Yes.
And that's what we're discussing this morning, the Open University of Kenya. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Join us at the Bizarre Bazaar July edition, happening on Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th of July at the Kenya School of TVET, UN Avenue, Gigiri, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Enjoy a fantastic day out with family and friends at Nairobi's premier open-air market. Discover over 100 vendors showcasing crafts, furniture, home decor, fashion, jewelry, health, food and beauty products. Experience live entertainment, a kids' true friend understands your dreams and aspirations and is there to offer you support in achieving your goals. With a friend like Britam, we offer you the support you need when it comes to saving for that dream home, purchasing property, expanding your business, or saving towards a comfortable retirement. Invest your money in Britam Smart Yield today and start earning returns above 13% per annum. You can start with as little as 1,000 shillings. SMS SMART to
The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning, 14 degrees. We'll see highs of 24 and highs of 25. In a partly sunny Nakuru at 13. 24 will be the high and lows of 13 in Nyeri, while into Eldoret it's partly sunny at 13 going to highs of 22. And Mombasa is sunny at 22 with highs of 29, while at 23 it's sunny in Malindi with highs of 28. It's 20 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 28, while into Kakamega at 17, partly sunny going to highs of 24. It's 19 and cloudy in Kampala, and we'll see highs of 28, while Dar es Salaam at 21, sunny will go to highs of 31. 7 degrees and clear in Johannesburg with highs of 19, while Mogadishu at 26 is sunny. We'll see highs of 29 and highs of 21. In a cloudy Addis Ababa at 13. Lagos at 25 is cloudy with highs of 29, while 29 will be the high. In a mostly cloudy Kinshasa at 20.
Baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob. 20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe, cheza daka, ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account, Spice, amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita, kuwa bingwa.
A touch of gold and class is what you need to up your fashion game. Think Twice brand, your fashion partner over 10 years that operates 36 branches across the country, brings you Think Twice Gold in Thindigwa, Kiambu Road on the 27th of this month. Think Twice Gold offers a unique and golden collection of high-end brands, quality and fashion. We will be launching new stylish collection
Okay, so what's happening here on the roads this morning? We are looking at traffic that's starting to build on the Thika Super Highway, quite some actually, and it's going to take us all the way through towards Survey at the underpass out towards Pangani. Also some traffic building on Jago Road and the Thika Superhighway. Let's look at this area coming from Outer Ring all the way through, and we'll have some of that traffic clog up on the Thika Superhighway on that point. Wayaki Way is busy coming through towards Westlands. Magadi Road, it's Friday, so traffic usually coming in all the way from Rongai out towards Multimedia University and then through towards the Langata Junction. That is very busy at this point. The Eastern Bypass, North Airport Road, Cabanas in and outbound, going towards Outer Ring, it's craziness. Traffic is bumper to bumper here. It looks like it'll be that way for a while. We're going to keep an eye on that. So if you can use an alternate route, you might want to think about that. Let's talk SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
24 minutes to 8. We're talking about the Open University of Kenya, which is chartered by the Commission for University Education to offer university education across the country. Professor Elijah Omwenga is the acting Vice Chancellor of the Open University. He's here to tell us about the university, to tell us about how you're operating. So far, you've told us 1,400 students have enrolled and they're going on with various programs. And you've told us about, as well, the flexibility of the fee payment and various other things that you're telling us, even about access.
So what kind of programs are we seeing on offer here, Prof, at the university?
Thank you for that question, Madam. The university's flagship programs include Bachelor of Data Science, which is one of those that we started with during the charter process. We have Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics. We have a Bachelor of Technology Education, Bachelor of Economics and Statistics, Postgraduate Diploma in Leadership and Accountability, and Postgraduate Diploma in Learning Design and Technology. Let me speak a little bit more about these programs. The choice was led by data, which we were given by the COOPS, the Selection for University Education body, looking at the needs out there, what the companies and other institutions need, the skills which are required. For instance, data science, we recognize that we are living in a world of high rates of generation of data, the velocity, the veracity, the volume, and all that. So that data needs to be harnessed and used in decision making. So we are producing graduates or experts with the skills to enable that to happen. We're also looking at the internet enabling us to have programs, applications, and services being run across various networks. The government of Kenya is already focusing on digitalization of its services, and therefore we are exposing ourselves to many surfaces of attack, and therefore need to develop manpower, skilled manpower to address those areas, cybersecurity, to secure our systems and ensure our digital forensics are well taken care of. We're also looking at one of the 5 pillars of the better model is micro small enterprise, and that's the reason we're having Bachelor of Business Economics and Business Entrepreneurship, Bachelor of Business and Entrepreneurship, that's the name, and Bachelor of Economics and Statistics, 2 important programs to ensure that that particular sector thrives with the right manpower. And also CBC, that is the competence-based curriculum. We are focusing on creating manpower at the postgraduate level to deal with harnessing and utilization of the various technologies which exist to enhance and scale up in harnessing the ICT area here. Then a very important program which I'm encouraging KTN staff to enroll in is Leadership and Accountability. This is a program that we are focusing on creating good leaders who are accountable, and here we have attracted CEOs and other leaders in the industry who have enrolled in this particular program. But now focusing into the future, Eric, is new programs. The Open University must expand, and if you look at the students we have admitted here, some of the limitations because of the programs that we are offering. So we have developed and submitted for consideration additional 20 programs, 19 precisely, because one had already been submitted but not mounted. And these programs include Bachelor of Commerce and Management, and several of them in Economics and Data Science, looking at the economics aspects and data science matching that, and Bachelor of Course in Computer Science, being a technology university, Mathematics and Computational Analytics, which is another area of interest, and very importantly, which is very close to our president, Bachelor of Nursing. We want to expand the opportunities for students to come on board in nursing. Interactive media is another area, because we believe with the better model of the digital superhighway and the creative economy, we need to empower people with the skills to deal with interactive media. And another program under the bachelor's is educational mathematics and computational statistics, because we believe there is cross-sharing of disciplines and those skills are required. We also have master's programs which are coming up in September, Master of Commerce and Business Administration. We realized that most of our students are aspiring to be leaders of the industry, and that means they quickly want to get into the master's programs. And also, most of the teachers that we talked to already have bachelor's degrees, and they want to get into masters as they scale through their careers. And that's why we are focusing on several master's programs in education leadership, masters in artificial intelligence, masters in cybersecurity and data forensics, masters in learning design and technology, master's degree in digital services management, master's degree in data science, master's degree in technology education, and we have 3 postgraduate or PhD programs in commerce and management, education, leadership and policy, and technology education. All these programs we are offering here, 19 of them, are informed by the needs that we have established out there. We've done a survey. We have talked to our potential clients, and they have told us that they want these programs, postgraduate programs, undergraduate, which are besides the ones we are offering right now. So from as early as September, latest the end of this year, around November, these programs should be available for our students. So we are now going to expand our enrollment in bigger proportions.
I'm curious.
Yes.
You mentioned a bachelor in nursing.
Yes. Good.
Where will you employ your practicums? Because nursing, yes, is a theoretical aspect of it, yes, but then there is the part where you actually have to put into practice the theory.
Very good. Thank you so much for that question. It's one of the areas that we must do well. That's the area of setting up partners and collaborators with us. And you may realize that one of the programs that was chartered together, or rather was approved together with the charter, is Bachelor of Agriculture and Biosystems Technology. But we did not mount that program because we needed to set up the partners with us. So nursing, we have started discussions with some of those who are offering these courses, other colleges, other collaborators, to enter into MOU for the student to get into internship as required. Most of the teaching, of course, is in virtual mode, and when they need to go out there and do the practice, we are entering into MOUs and partnership with our sister institutions who are offering this course. But also, we have invested heavily on technology, simulation, which is one of the most powerful ways of teaching these courses. Just like a simulator for an aircraft, which students must go through in a very virtual situation before they get into the aircraft. That's the same thing we are doing here. There will be a lot of virtual opportunities for the students before they get into the practical aspects with our collaborators, whom we shall enter into MOUs with.
You see, does this then provide an opportunity for other institutions that already have a practical, meaning a health facility, to partner with you? Why I ask the question is, if I look at the current model, the partnerships tend to be with level 6, maybe some level 5 hospitals. But what about, given the nature of nursing and what it is, any level of hospital that admits patients would be in a position to offer the practicum? And given our population, just the sheer numbers of people we have, it also means that by dint of that, there will be people in large numbers who are unwell, people on whom you can ply the trade of what you've been learning. So is this an opportunity to expand that capacity so that institutions that already exist to provide care and treatment then also becoming teaching universities? Facilities, sorry.
We shall be glad to enter into such arrangements so that it becomes the other way. They are able to provide one aspect of the entire training program, and we provide the other.
Yes.
So that is great, and we are exploring various options. The option where the institutions which are already offering those programs, not necessarily to degree level, Like many hospitals I know in this country, they train their nurses and give them certificates or diplomas, but not necessarily degrees. We can now utilize those opportunities which already exist and leverage and upscale to degree level, because as we are approved, we shall be seeking approval to offer at degree level. So that will be a very good partnership, adding value to where already there is an existing framework and infrastructure. Yes.
Do you have partnerships for any of the practical aspects of the programs that are ongoing right now that you can tell us? So this is where we are sending our students for practical.
Yes, we already have. We are in the process of establishing that, and I don't think it's right for me to start discussing that, because right now we are on the second semester. The practicals are coming in the second year of the various programs we are offering, and we are in advanced stage of setting up those MOUs. And maybe next time, please invite me. I bring them along with me.
How will quality be assured?
Very good question. And I said one of the criteria or one of the principles of the Open University, number 5 principle, is quality. Quality assurance is a process and a whole chain or cycle, if I may. It begins from the choice of the programs, so that you don't choose programs that will not attract effective interests among those who are taking those programs, and then you end up having mediocre at the end. So you choose the right programs, you have the right skilled manpower to develop those curricula. Once that has happened and approved by the Commission for University Education, you have achieved a very important milestone, because there you're seeing a tripartite arrangement: the university, the experts, and the Commission for University Education. The next stage now is how you develop the content. This content, which for our case, and is good, must be approved by the Commission for University Education. The public universities, apparently right now, most of them, other universities, the content is not necessarily approved. But for the Open University, the Commission approved the content. Why? Because it exists in a virtual learning management system. So when they are coming to check on your capability to host that program, they not only check the curriculum, but they check the hosting environment, in this case the digital environment. So that content, which must be very well done, well curated, using experts which bring in areas such as virtual models, simulations, videos, audios, narratives, and all other assets required to infuse into this content to enrich it, because it must be interactive. It's going to exist on its own. You are imagining a lecturer or a professor in the content. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. The lecturer or the professor is not there out there physically. He or she brings in his knowledge, and it's infused, encapsulated in this content. That very serious process is expensive, but we do it, and we have done it. The programs that right now are existing have gone through that very important quality assurance stage. The next is now to digitize this content, to digitalize. Digitalization, not digitize. Digitalization means now you are bringing in all these assets into digital mode. And once that has happened, been approved also, now you get into the implementation of that content, which we are a process we have followed meticulously. Implementation means we deliver using the virtual learning management system synchronously and asynchronously. We use discussion forums to ensure that the students are engaged. We use design concepts. We use reimagination concepts. We use follow-up and hand-holding approaches to the students. Some of them are quite young, just graduates from high school. We ensure that they are fully engaged in the digital learning process and create what we call a student portfolio, which is assessed at the end of the semester by the lecturer who is in charge of that particular program. That student portfolio, very important, because you're able to see the interaction that happened, the discussion that went on, and that is captured automatically using artificial intelligence techniques. And that enables us to appreciate the learning process and what the student has mastered. And then at the end, yes, sir.
You mentioned simulation. It sparked a thought in my mind. Now, with regards to those who are part of your teaching staff, how exactly do you get your staff to be able to ply their trade in a manner that is effective using this mode of learning? And how do you determine that their way of going about it meets the demand and the criteria and the expectation of what a course like that ought to provide when it's in the mode that we are now referring to as open learning?
That's a very good question. It has come up many times. In fact, we've even been cautioned that ensure that the lecturers or the professors are able to respond to students' questions on time. We are using technology. And Moodle, which is our learning management system platform, has these assets which we have customized to help us manage and monitor the interactivity of every student together with the lecturer. So with that, and together with a committed set of professors, we are able to handhold the students and ensure that we have them learning and having the right skills. But however, just the lecturers are trained. Every lecturer who has come on board goes through a rigorous process of training. We call that e-learning, learning how to e-learn and e-deliver. So that is a mandatory program that we have set up. Whether you're a professor of whatever university, we are holding you up to come and teach for us. You have to go through a mandatory program of how to teach online.
Good.
What is the portfolio of those who are not in Kenya look like? A diaspora population of students?
Good. Thank you, Madam Okoh, for that question. And that is a good one in the sense that we are having students from 18 different countries currently. Countries such as Tanzania, we have a few students from there, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Algeria, Netherlands, United States of America, Uganda, Kuwait, Germany, South Korea, and many others. So the question maybe is also, how do you ensure that these students, when we are going to have practicals, they also have an opportunity to go through the practical sessions? We are learning from other institutions which have been there, such as IGNO, the Indira Gandhi National Open University, the largest university in the world, open university in the world, with 3 million students, 1 million every year.
Wow.
And I've been there, sponsored by the government of the Republic of Kenya, to and see what happens. And what we learned is that they're using their embassies across the world, the globe, to identify institutions where students can go and have their practicals. And they gave us interesting stories on how that has been a very effective model. So for us at the Open University, we are exploring how we shall amalgamate students from different countries and create an opportunity for them to go through that process. However, if we are not ready yet for those students in diaspora, we will ensure that we concentrate on those students in Kenya for certain programs if we feel that we will not meet the threshold of the quality assurance required for those students in the diaspora. However, just to come directly to your question, related to that question is about exams. How do you ensure that students in the diaspora at different time zones are able to come up and sit for the exams when it's offered? We have devised a model of kind of examinations on demand. And students in a cohort can be given an exam. And another cohort can come together and given another exam of equal quality. And this is because thanks to our examination bank that we have very quickly developed, we have a large database of examination banks for all the programs that we are already offering, the 6 or so of them, and lecturers are able to develop these examinations within a very short period of time. And while I'm there, let me note that part of the quality assurance stage that was about to mention, the last stage, is examinations. How do we ensure that the examination process is secured? As already mentioned, we have conducted the first semester exams, which was very successful by all standards of what we know, how others did theirs during the COVID. We can say we did excellent. There were not many challenges. We used technology to monitor the students. We had authentic exams. Authentic exams, those exams that you're able to measure mastery of the skills and not necessarily memorization of the facts. And that also is another area that the Open University is very good at, authentic examination process. As part of quality assurance, the examination must be conducted well. You must be assured of the technology you're using. If you are locking the screens and all these other areas of emerging technologies for examination offerings must be put in place. And we have done that at the Open University. And finally, we ensure that the process of evaluation, both formative and summative, formative is the continuous and summative as the end, is of the highest quality, using the right professors and the right systems so that no student is disenfranchised. And there's also, of course, the usual externalization of, which is mandatory anyway, usual externalization of the various courses, examination that we have done. And this external by dint of the fact that it's not our staff who are carrying out that, from an external eye to come and see what we are doing.
Okay. Somebody's asking, so apart from the money side, when you say, okay, so this one more affordable than the others, what would you say distinguishes the Open University of Kenya from the other public universities and private universities in the country?
Very good. I'll go through that again. Many distinguishing characteristics. The first is, as I've mentioned, inclusivity. And inclusivity has been implemented through a flexible admission criteria, which has been approved by the Commission for University Education, recognizing prior learning. And that is underlying principle. The second is the flexible mode of delivery, using technology and allowing students to come in, to get out at their own pace. And also enabling paced learning, as well as anywhere, anytime delivery of content, accessing all these using state-of-the-art technology. The Open University is also open in terms of flexible fees, which you have mentioned here. We allow students to learn, and they pay before they do their exams. Most institutions say you have to pay upfront, but for us, we are doing it the other way around. You get the services and we ask you to pay at the end. But also, there are aspects, of the issue of stepping in, stepping out. What do I mean by that? When conditions are favorable, you are able to get in and continue learning. When your conditions, such as the opportunities to access, the opportunities for you to have time, you are allowed to get out and come in at your own time without any penalty.
I see.
And many other, of course.
Okay.
Sorry. Professor
Elijah Omwenga, the acting vice chancellor of the Open University of Kenya, has been our guest, talking about this university, chartered and already offering various courses, 1,400 students already enrolled, and he's been our guest. Keep it here for more conversations. It's 8 a.m. news time.
Thursday formally announced to the residents that he's nominated Hassan Joho as mining CS.
Watu wa Mombasa jameni, nimekuja kuwaomba munipatie Ali Hassan Joho awe waziri katika serikali ya Kenya. Mombasa, mimi nawauliza, mumekubali Hassan Joho awe waziri wangu wa mambo ya madini na mambo ya uvuvi na mambo ya blue economy na mambo ya maritime affairs? Tushakubaliana? Mumesema tuunganishe Kenya.
Before heading to the coast, President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua were in Tharaka Nithi County for a similar development tour, where Ruto defended his decision to appoint ODM leaders to his cabinet.
Sasa nimesema hakuna haja ya kubaguana tena. Si watu wote wanalipa ushuru? Sasa tuungane, tutengeneze serikali ambayo itaunganisha Wakenya na itushughulikie sisi wote, mambo ya maendeleo iweze kusonga mbele. Mimi nawauliza Wakenya wote, hakuna haja ya fujo, hakuna haja ya vita, kuharibu mali ya wananchi, kuiba mali ya wengine. Mimi nawauliza Wakenya, tuungane, hatuna nchi ingine. Nchi yetu ni moja. Tukiharibu hii, hatuna mahali pengine pa kwenda.
Apart from Joho, other ODM leaders who've been appointed to the cabinet are Opiyo Wandayi for the Ministry of Energy, John Mbadi for Finance, and Wycliffe Oparanya for Cooperative Societies. Meanwhile, Kisumu residents have thanked President Ruto for appointing ODM leaders to his cabinet. They are particularly pleased with John Mbadi's appointment, who'll now lead the finance docket if approved by Parliament.
Mbadi knows mathematics. We know Mbadi as somebody who is very thorough in his work, and we know Mbadi is going to deliver in that appointment and in that position. Kisumu, Tibim. So that is basically where we are.
The residents have also called on the government to be more transparent going forward and involve Kenyans in decision-making through meaningful public participation exercises. The High Court has, for the second time, stopped the government from issuing new generation identity cards, popularly known as Maisha Number, until a fresh petition is heard and determined. Haki na Sheria Initiative has disputed the cards rollout, citing a possible breach of mass personal data and permanent exclusion of select groups of people, including children from minorities and marginalized communities. While issuing the order, Justice Lawrence Mugambi said it would be difficult to remedy damage caused if the court eventually finds the process unconstitutional. The nominee for Director General of Health has pledged to enhance the implementation of universal health coverage by preventing strikes that disrupt access to healthcare services for the public. Speaking before a joint health committee of the National Assembly and Senate, Patrick Amoth emphasized the need to adequately resource the Kenya Health Human Resource Advisory Council to ensure it addresses the welfare of healthcare professionals effectively. Amoth, who's been acting in the position for 4 years, outlined his plans, if confirmed, including securing support for adequately resourcing the council to manage human resources within the Ministry of Health and county governments to reduce industrial strikes. US Vice President Kamala Harris, who is expected to be the Democratic nominee for November's presidential election, has held what she called frank and constructive talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Striking a tougher tone than President Joe Biden, Harris said she made clear her serious concerns about casualties in Gaza, telling Netanyahu how Israel defended itself mattered.
I have had an unwavering commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel. I've said it many times, but it bears repeating. Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters. I also expressed with the Prime Minister my serious concern about the scale of human suffering in Gaza, including the death of far too many innocent civilians. And I made clear my serious concern about the dire humanitarian situation there, with over 2 million people facing high levels of food insecurity and 500,000 people facing catastrophic levels of acute food insecurity. What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating.
That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia, hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo.
Jana nimeona wale wazee tulishinda. Ati hiyo mzee akisema ati he will not be coerced or intimidated to joining our government. Wewe mzee sikia. We have no business within our government. Hatuna haja na hatugojei wewe. We are not looking for you and we have no time. Stop saying that people can force you to come to this government. Forget about being forced or coerced. We are not interested because sisi tuko na kazi ya kufanya.
Kama kuna mtu ako na namba ya William Ruto, arekodi hii video mtumie. Maisha yangu tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kuona mtu muongo, mfisadi, baradhuli na mdhabina kama William Samoei Ruto.
Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. Ati huyu akitaka aje aongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. I wonder. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
We have a choice to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
A few moments later.
Now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
102.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
All right, busy in the city this morning and still looking at traffic that's coming off the Thika Superhighway. It takes us to the Pangani underpass, so we see the most of the movement right now. Busy on Jogo Road heading out towards Landis. Landis is busy going towards Kamkunji, and on Kangunda Road is also touching on Outer Ring. Very, very busy here this morning. Eastern Bypass decided that this morning all prisoners are being taken, and it's heavy traffic going through towards North Airport Road. Also then spilling over towards Outer Ring. It's busy as well. Keeping an eye on things as we're into traffic hour. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
9:08. Thank you for keeping it locked on Spice FM, on YouTube, on Facebook, on KTN Home, on X, on TikTok. Asante Sana. On this next hour, we look at what's happening in the country now, in terms of governance, leadership, politics. And we're joined by the Member of Parliament for Homa Bay Town, the Honorable Peter Kaluma. Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Morning, Latiff.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Great, very happy as a good governance guy for where we are as a nation and what we can achieve working together.
Very good. Very good. Karibu sana.
Asante, Latiff.
I know you are in the Speaker's panel of the National Assembly. You're a very busy man.
Luos call it Assistant Speaker, not Speaker's panel.
Assistant Speaker.
Yeah, they understand.
There's a
that
Speaker,
part.
Deputy Speaker, Assistant Speaker.
Ben Kaluma.
Okay. Hey, what do you say? Man is from Homa Bay. All Homa Bay. When you hear a man from Homa Bay, just expects.
Yeah.
What were you told it's called?
Which one?
Yeah, this thing that they have, the vavavoom of the Homa Bay people. There's a word. Nyeri.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nyeri.
What is Nyeri city?
Nyeri is pride. Pride in who you are.
That plumage. It's a plumage of the chicken.
Plumage of the chicken.
So insert that word appropriately when you're giving the proverb.
Yes.
Use the right language. Mheshimiwa, we have a message for you from Britain, and they talk about investing, and it's important that you know this, and also you spread the message to people. People are being encouraged not to save, put money in their wallet, in their pocket, in, just a simple bank account where it's not earning you much. Put it somewhere where it's growing. The parable of the talents. The one who just took money and went and buried it under the sand. And even the Lord was like, hii niliumba mimi. Yeah. So Britain have products like the money market fund and the smart yield, where they say put in money and it grows. All right, safe, and also it's a low risk, good return, and you get your money, and it preserves your wealth. And if you open into and you start saving in the money market fund, you can earn up to
13.5%.
Imagine
per annum.
And the smart yield is up to
14%.
per annum. Again, some good growth of your wealth, and you're just putting it there instead of just sitting in and you can access it. If there's money market, you can access it
anytime.
It's short term, it's smart yield, you can access it as well anytime. How do you do this? You go to ke.britam.com, you find a tab written Save and Invest, and then you click on it, you choose the money market fund or the Britam Smart Yield, and then you click on it. It brings you a new page, says start investing. It opens a page for you. You fill out the details there. How much do you want to invest? How regularly do you want to be topping up? And so on and so forth. And once you're done, tuma pesa, inaingia, inaanza kugrow. As simple as that. And if you put 1,000 shillings today, or you top up your account with 1,000 shillings, and you send us a screenshot of that transaction to
SpiceFM KE on any of our platforms, but it must be a DM. So send a DM to SpiceFM on any of our platforms, and you could win 5,000 shillings today. So 1,000 shillings, make the payment, take a screenshot of that payment, send us a DM, 5,000 shillings in your pocket by the end of Friday. How about that?
That's it. Okay. So, City, why don't you give the Honorable Kaluma the day's proverb?
Yes. This is our final proverb from the Union of the Comoros. And as per popular demand, I will give a little tweaking, a little editing. A chicken with nyadhi, otherwise known as beautiful plumage, does not sit in a corner.
A chicken with beautiful plumage does not sit in a corner.
Yes.
A chicken from Homa Bay does not sit in a corner.
A chicken from Homa Bay with good plumage knows it has good plumage, and it will let you know that
it will not sit in a corner.
No, it will not.
Yeah. What's the interpretation of this one?
The interpretation is Rogo Manduli.
Right.
Does not sit in a corner.
Yeah.
What is the proverb telling you?
Don't be shy to show out and to use what you have.
Don't be afraid to blow your own trumpet.
Don't be afraid to blow it. If you don't have it, act it.
Yes.
If you don't have it, act it. Let everybody know.
Yes.
Okay. Mheshimiwa, now we are in a new era in the country. For example, we have Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Kwanza broad-based coalition government. Am I right?
No, you're wrong.
What do we have?
Yeah, Latiff, coming from where we are, and as a leader, allow me first to condole, those Kenyans who died during what we've been going through in terms of our reforms, and to wish, their families God's strength and comfort. Let me also, because of where we are and what we are discussing, thank President William Ruto for striving to achieve an inclusive nation, which has been missing from the start of this government. You remember, from the start of this government, we had the deputy president in particular shouting that this is a government of shareholders, despite the constitution saying all Kenyans of all ethnic groups, minorities, all gender, persons with disabilities will be included. So let me thank the president for the nominations he has made. Far from, the cabinet which was sent home, this one appears not totally inclusive, but a progress in that direction. And it is in that context that you see a lot of noise within the ODM party now. You see a lot of noise Within, Kenya Kwanza, you see a lot of noise. Within even UDA. The fact of the matter is that for people who don't understand our constitution and structure of government, the idea that you can have a cabinet secretary from within Luo Nyanza, not necessarily a Luo, is something they can't imagine. And they can tell you, Latiff, up to yesterday in the night, even members of the ODM party are still saying Badi must leave that seat. Because to them, their definition of some communities is limited to things like mandamano, throwing stones, not doing anything much. The idea that you can have the minister in charge of the treasury and the minister in charge of energy, from what people know as within Nyanza region, even if they are not Luos, has really disturbed people. And so let me go back to your question now. Article 4 of the Constitution says Kenya is a multi-party democratic state. It means it is a state in which we have very many political parties. In our place, I am a member of the ODM party. There are members of UDA. If you go to Article 10, it will tell you about the national values and principles of governance, which includes inclusivity. You go to the chapter on the executive, you'll see the powers of the president. You go particularly to Article 232 of the Constitution, it talks and do to how the public service is composed. What has been happening in this country is that public service has been composed in a manner that is unconstitutional. And this is one of the reasons as to why our young people, following other, agitations, were on the streets. Remember, they were saying tribeless, so many less. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that the president appoints people is his. And let me begin by telling you that all Kenyans, for those who do not know our constitution, are in government, including you, Latiff, including my brother Muga, including Kaluma. In fact, more so me, I'm a state officer, I'm a member of parliament in the government of Kenya. Raila Odinga is in government. So it is out of some misunderstanding when you ask Raila has entered government or ODM has entered KK government. All these parties and all Kenyans are in government, but all Kenyans are different in different political parties. So
let me take you back just a little bit. You talk about appointments being unconstitutional. Like which ones are you speaking
The
of?
previous ones.
Which ones?
The cabinet, which was dissolved, and then so many of them. You remember even and across public service.
Those offices, those appointments were unconstitutional?
Unconstitutional in terms of not meeting the constitutional benchmarks.
Such as?
Article 230, 232.
What are those?
Ethnic balance. The constitution says there will be all ethnic groups. Gender balance. I can tell you on the first point just a short while you saw over 1,402 people being employed to Kenya Revenue Authority as revenue assistants from two communities. It was in parliament, it went to court, the court nullified it, but they are still working. That is what we had. So I'm saying it did not meet benchmarks like gender, balance, the minorities, you didn't have their number, persons with disability, to date you don't have. So I'm saying there is progress and we need to continue to fight. And that is why I'm saying beyond the cabinet, we need to go to PSS, up to the people who clean our floors. And we are waiting for more opportunities for all Kenyans, not just in ODM.
Is this
but
new
Kenyans.
proposed cabinet then constitutional?
It is a progress. It has not met the mark fully, because I've not seen a person with disability, for instance, in it, to whom we are required to have at least 5%. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's better than what we had. What we had was largely, remember, one community had 8 cabinet positions, whose portfolios you understood, just one community, one region, against the constitution, which speaks to the matter of the face of Kenya, ethnic and regional balance. And remember the DPS letters last weekend was still saying, I'm searching for 2 more. Yeah, so that is not the Kenya we want. And so I'm discouraging Kenyans from thinking when you appoint people from regions which are deemed to be for this political party, then they have joined government. Everybody is in government. They're just taking their due spaces under the constitution to serve the country.
So if Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi had not been nominated here, would you still consider if it was other people from Luo Nyanza? Would you be okay with it?
By then, Mbadi is not a Luo. Mbadi is from the minority group called Suba.
Okay. Is it from Nyanza?
Yes, it is
Okay.
within Nyanza.
All right.
So on the Kisi side, we have the nominee for education, and we had education before you know it. Wandai is on the other side of the lake.
So
I don't know whether it's Luo or Luo.
If John
But
Mbadi,
he's a Kenyan. That is what is
if
important.
John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi are not the names that appeared in the nominees list, and you had Eliud Owalo and say Machage,
I have no problem.
Would you be okay?
I have no problem. And that is why I have a
So that's
problem.
what we had. We had Eliud Owalo before, we had Machage before.
Yes, it is the president who appoints, and the president goes for competences which he needs to lead the country. And you see, I am shocked at how we contradict ourselves. When we had a problem with the Ruto cabinet, the person whose clips as all media were showing was John Mbadi's talk. John Mbadi is up to now the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, which is the primary committee of oversight in Parliament. And by the way, it's done very well. We are up to date in terms of the audits, so that our counties can get due money. Wandayi is the minority leader. Wandayi is a former detainee. You saw how Wandayi was even ordered out of Parliament for a whole year. Abruptly, when they are appointed, people don't want to see their competences. They think of the region they're coming from. We can't permit that. That is not the Kenya we want.
Are you sure people are seeing the region?
Yeah, that is what they are talking about.
What are they talking about?
I can tell you up to last night, members of ODM from some regions were still meeting saying Mbadi must leave treasury for them. You know, this tribal bigotry is being spewed around. You saw the media last night where people from one tribe are shouting Mbadi must leave, Wandayi must leave, and they're within ODM. A lot of dishonesty. A lot of dishonesty. Let us allow Kenyans from all backgrounds, from all regions, of all diversity to serve the country more so where we are today.
So you quoted Article 4 of the Constitution, right? And Kenya is a multi-party democracy.
Correct.
Does it envision a place where after an election, all sides, all political parties then are game for forming the executive?
We are not in the executive.
If the chairman of ODM takes up the position in the executive, does it envision a situation where all political parties join the executive?
Not necessarily. Number one, let me clarify our architecture. I've heard people saying a lot that the opposition has gone to bed with government.
And had a baby.
Look at the Constitution of Kenya. If you showed me the word opposition as part of our structure of our governance, opposition, I will invest 1 million in Britam because I'd invested with them before I lapsed, and I'm seeking out to recover my investments in education. It is very important. I tell you, there is no position in our current structure. In the current structure, we have a presidential system of government.
Yes.
And in a presidential system of government, the opposition is parliament as a whole. So we don't have government side like before and opposition.
Okay.
We talk these things because we are hangover. We have the hangover of the past constitutional order, the dictatorial one we replaced. The arrangement we have is that Echungwa, who is the majority leader currently, should be the one leading our charge against the executive. But you know, because we are died in the whole of the past, Akina Echungwa say we are in government, there is some imaginary opposition to them somewhere. And these are the things we are mistaking. I'm saying all these people are in government. ODM party is funded by the public. I hope we know that. Kenya Kwanza and their coalitions are funded by the public, the parties which qualify. These are properties of the Kenyan people they are investing in for their good governance. And that is what it is. And the president is empowered to appoint anybody. We are making noise now. But in the 11th parliament, you remember Kaiseri was appointed from among ODM. And he led as a very good, minister for security. In fact, it is his place which was taken by Memusi. The president is given the leeway as the head of state to pick whoever he believes could have the best competences and capacities to enable them move forward. And so he's appointing John Mbadi. And remember, when John Mbadi succeeds during vetting, and I can assure you we will approve him because we know his contributions to this country.
Mheshimiwa, are you
The
saying-
ODM party has structures. We are going to have a new chair. We have very many people in ODM to lead.
Please
so
enlighten-
this thing of crying bad, he should be the chair. If he goes, there is no position. I don't understand it.
Can we go a step back? So are you saying that what we've seen recently with the nominations for appointees by the president was solely based on vacancies that have been created by virtue of the dissolution of cabinet, and that the prerequisite for this was purely that they're able to do the work?
I can only,
and it has nothing at all to do with the political innuendo that we've seen played out in the country over the last few weeks.
Yeah, the media is misleading the country. If there were time,
I'm asking if the president appointments were made solely on what you've said just now, based on competencies, based on the vacancies that have been left in cabinet, are those appointments based solely on those?
In my view, looking at all the appointments, I'm satisfied by their competence. Of course, I'm not the president to know.
Kaluma, I'm going to stick on that question.
I'm not the president to know what other considerations he had, but I can tell you on the face of it, they are competent Kenyans, and we'll be vetting them. Other issues could arise. I also don't know each individual in detail, but so far as I know, in terms of competences, the ones I know, like the Honorable John Mbadi, the Honorable Pio Wandai, the Honorable Wycliffe Oporanya, the Honorable Joe, even the Honorable Murkomen for sports. We've been in Bunge FC and for 13 years with Murkomen playing soccer, even when he was appointed minister.
So by virtue of the fact that you've played soccer with him, so that was a good idea for him to be
I'm
named.
telling you, if he's taken to sports, I'm satisfied.
Okay.
The question again, Ndu?
I'm going to ask the question again. Based on what you previously said, are these appointments for nominations by the president based purely on competencies from what you see?
Yes, there is competence and there are other considerations under Article 232. So I say yes, and I say there are additional considerations. If you look at Article 232, it says you'll appoint based on merits and competence. But so in so doing, you will be subject to these other requirements like ethnic balance, gender balance. You will consider minorities like the Subas from where Mbadi comes from. By the way, he's not a Luo. You consider persons with disability, yes. So yes.
So the politics of the day plays no part here whatsoever?
In fact, not at all.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. The president himself commended the leadership of diverse organizations, both public and private, including political parties, for their encouraging response to his outreach to consult on forming a broad-based government. The willingness to set aside their partisan positions and interests in order to join a visionary partnership for the radical transformation of Kenya is a historic gesture of their patriotism. So this was what he said when he announced the new nominees. And prior to that, he had said he wants to consult widely. He wants to reach out to leadership of all political parties, and so that they can join government. Again, I go back to your Article 4 of the Constitution and the formation of government and structure of government. Are you saying, Bwana Assistant Speaker of the National Assembly, that the Constitution envisages a place where, after an election, the winning political party and the candidate can go to the losing political party and its candidate and co-opt them into government?
We've not been co-opted into government.
Can
individuals who are competent to serve the country have been picked from the ODM and other political parties to serve the government, and when they go into government, they are required by law to resign before, so they'll cease to be in any political party as civil servants.
Okay. Did you have a problem when the president invited some ODM members for meetings in State House?
Certainly.
The ODM party has had a problem with individual members of parliament in their individual capacity, not as officials of ODM, for meetings in parliament.
There is...
the ODM party has censured those members of parliament for going, not to join the executive, but to have a meeting with the president.
There is every problem with the approach, not meeting the president. I meet the president quite often. I've met the first lady What we require as a party is that you disclose, and it should not be that you then, stand on the fence as to whether you are in your party or not. Because when you meet the president, like the way I met the first lady to discuss matters family law and the situation of children in Kenya, and from that you remember the first lady came up with Children of the Nation as one additional program she can run. That is fine. But when you meet the president and then you don't kowtow to your party, particularly when the whip is applied in terms of how you should align yourselves with your manifesto in decision making in parliament, then there is a problem. You are not being honest with your party.
Okay.
And that way you fall afoul of the law.
The official position of ODM, as communicated by the Secretary General after several meetings of the top organs of ODM, is that ODM is not joining government. That ODM is not entering into any agreement and partnerships with government. Did the deputy party leaders of ODM, the Honorable Hassan Ali Joho and the Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya, did the chairman of ODM, the Honorable John Mbadi, did the minority leader in the National Assembly, nominated by ODM, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi, inform and seek to kowtow with the party before they were nominated?
Latiff, this is the one thing I came to clarify. So allow me to clarify it. The ODM party and Azimio coalition has had very many meetings on this matter. And if you want to see the resolutions reached in all those meetings, more so the last meeting which I saw the Secretary General of the party, talking about, the one which was disrupted by the youth when we were reading resolutions. And with Latiff, if you look at that video, I was on the left of Kalonzo on the podium. Actually, the second person on the left. We've had very many meetings. If you want to look at the totality of the resolutions reached, look at the first note Prime Minister Raila Odinga, our party leader, sent out over the weekend. I don't know whether you remember it. And then look at his letter of yesterday. You look at them, you will see 5 resolutions which we came to out of those meetings, particularly the last one. The problem causing confusion is that when you hear Sifuna is speaking to one thing, not the whole, picture, the way, our party leader has been speaking about it. That's the same way you see James Orengo will pick one, but he does not tell people the whole thing. So look at what, Baba, the party leader, says in totality. And there were 5 things. Number 1, we discussed 5 issues. Number 1, we said there were some things which the current government needed to do, before we can go into a situation where people would have conversation. And you saw them in the list of the preconditions the party leader sent out in his note over the weekend. We said we are still burying Kenyans who are killed during this clamor for reforms. We need to be done with that. We said so many people could not be accounted for, even as we speak to. We needed them to be accounted for. We said those ones who are in police stations across the country need to be released. We said the president and his government need to think of how we can have some level of compensation, for the lives lost. Of course, you cannot, compensate life. But we said, among other reforms like NHIF, SHIF, you saw Baba put them as preconditions. And we said, when all these are done, the nation could be in an environment to discuss. At the second level, we said the word dialogue was disturbing people, and it is what was making people to think there is some rapprochement or approach between our party leader and the president. And we said, because when you talk dialogue, you think to people. And so people are easily saying there is a new handshake coming. I'm the one who spoke on the floor, Latiff. And my Secretary General will tell you, because after he spoke, people adopted it and said we do the resolutions. And we did the resolutions with him. I can tell you. And I said, move this thing from dialogue when those conditions are met and we are in a good state as a country where we can talk. Because a number of these things the youth were talking about can only be gained from the table.
You can, come back,
agree
you can come back to that, but my direct question was...
let me give you the fact. I'm going to where you are because I want to put this thing in context. Latiff, this is important for me. And so we said, let us have a national people's convention at a neutral place. So you remember the note of the party leader over the weekend. He gave conditions. Then after that, he said there will be a national convention because that portends everybody coming to bring their views in terms of how we should move the country. In which case, even the president would be coming as a Kenyan, not just to respond, but also to give us the views. And all sections of Kenyans, you remember, Baba stipulated there. The next thing was a discussion around this matter you are on, where we were saying the president is saying he needs to co-opt other Kenyans. He needs to reach out beyond his, limited political party to enrich his government. How do we go about it? And the resolution we reached on that regard, and I gave on the floor the example of Nkaiseri, is that the president has the power to appoint anybody in the country. He can appoint anybody. And that is why I tell you all these guys are saying the same thing, but they are speaking in turns, at cross purposes. Because Sifuna is saying, ODM has not blessed them. What he's not telling you is that we said, we did not, however, limit the constitutional power and authority of the president to appoint anybody, including from ODM. And I gave the power of Nkaiseri. Then lastly, in terms of joining government, which is tied to the third point, we said there is nothing like joining government. But we empowered our party leader to continue engaging other parties because we are a growing party, okay? And as and when he reached an agreement with any party would tell us, we empowered him. And so I can tell you they are right when they tell you, so far as we know, we don't have an alliance with the UDA and ODM, All Kenya Kwanza, and ODM. What we know is that we resolved that the president can appoint anybody, including from ODM.
I want us to take a break.
And so I'm saying it is very wrong for members of the party to go saying, the way my Secretary General was saying, I don't support this, I don't do this. Let the president proceed as he's doing, as we wait for any talk that there is. And I'm confirming, I'm not aware of any talk which has been undertaken between the Prime Minister and President Ruto. In fact, these appointments were made when you remember our party leader was out of the country.
That's your question. Now my question, answer my question. And I'm going to give you the context as well because I'd asked the question before and you answered it. And now the next question. The context is, you've just told us that the Honorable Jalango, the Senator for Kisumu, and the other members of ODM who have gone to State House for a meeting with the President were censured by the party because they had not first sought the approval of the party before engaging in any kind of consultation with the President. So the question is, did the two deputy party leaders of ODM, did the chairman of ODM, did the minority leader of the National Assembly, who's an ODM member, seek the approval of ODM before this nomination?
I said we resolved that the president can appoint anybody, including them. And I said so long as they are being appointed by president to serve Kenyans, the approval of the party is not necessary.
So can the president invite anybody to State House just for a meeting? Does he not have the sole discretion to be able to do that regardless of where your party
He's
sits?
the president of the Republic.
He's the president of the Republic of Kenya.
I've told
he
you
can invite you for a meeting at State House.
Of a multi-party democracy.
What would the difference be?
By the way, do I tell you, I serve in the committee that oversight.
You're not answering the question. Let's take a break.
No. Latiff, I go to State House.
Let's take a break.
I told you the reason as to why you go is the issue.
I have part two of the question, and you can mull over it as we take this break.
Yes, sir.
Does the ODM party expect the deputy party leaders, the chairman, and this other member to come to it now and say, I have been approached, give me authority to engage with the president?
No.
The same way that Jalango was expected to seek the party's position. We'll come back, you'll answer that question.
You're mixing issues.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Join us at the Bizarre Bazaar July edition, happening on Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th of July at the Kenya School of TVET, UN Avenue, Gigiri, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Enjoy a fantastic day out with family and friends at Nairobi's premier open-air market. Discover over 100 vendors showcasing crafts, furniture, home decor, fashion, jewelry, health, food and beauty products. Experience live entertainment, a kids'
The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy conditions in Nairobi, it's 15 degrees. We'll see highs of 24 and highs of 25. In a mostly sunny Nakuru at 17, 16 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 24. And at 14, it is sunny in Eldoret, going to highs of 22. Mombasa is sunny at 24, highs of 29. And we'll see highs of 29 in a sunny Malindi at 26. 22 and cloudy in Kisumu with highs of 28, while Kakamega will see highs of 28 and lows of 17. Kampala is sunny at 21 with highs of 28. And 31 will be the high in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 22. Joburg at 9 is sunny with highs of 19, and at 27 we'll see sunny conditions through Mogadishu. At 15 cloudy in Addis Ababa, and 24 and cloudy in Lagos, with 21 and cloudy conditions in Kinshasa.
A touch of gold and class is what you
Baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob. 20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe, cheza daka, ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account, Spice, amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita, kuwa bingwa.
A touch of gold and class is what you need to up your fashion game. Think Twice Brand, your fashion partner over 10 years that operates 36 branches across the country, brings you Think Twice Gold in Pindigua.
All right, visibility poor as you go out west, and this is Wayaki. We're heading out in that direction, obviously because the fog is low, something to be watched out for. Fog lights, you'll need them, use them. Also, looking at traffic building on Jogo Road going towards Landis. Landis in and outbound is quite crazy right about now. And Kangunda Road also a mess. That traffic that's coming in from the Eastern Bypass going towards North Airport Road is very, very busy, coming out through towards Cabanas, doing the loop through towards Outer Ring. So expected at this time of the morning. Let's see what happens as we get through traffic hour. Coming off of Ngong Road, we'll see some traffic, then going towards Kingara Road and then out towards James Gishuru, but all manageable, at least for now. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The Honorable Peter Kaluma is the Member of Parliament for Homa Bay Town constituency in the National Assembly. He sits in the Speaker's panel. He's Assistant Speaker. So you have Speaker, you have Deputy Speaker, and then you have
Peter Kaluma.
Yeah, Peter Okay. Mheshimiwa, there's a Twitter handle called @Raila Odinga.
Yes.
It's the next handle. I'm sure you're one of the followers. It has 4.7 million followers. All right.
That is Baba. I'm one of them.
That is Baba.
One of his followers.
He regularly tweets here and even declares statements. For example, over the weekend, the clarification on what the stand was basically released through this Twitter handle.
Correct.
And this was to the young, resilient generation of our nation, where he said what you've just told us.
Yes.
You know, what his position was. 2 days ago, on the 23rd, he retweeted a statement that was published on Azimio TV, another handle. And that also is, one of the handle by the Azimio coalition party.
Yes.
And it says, Raila Odinga warns ODM members against joining the regime, Ruto regime. A story by Clifford Derrick on the 23rd. Raila Odinga, the leader of the Orange Democratic Movement and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, has backed the statement by his Secretary General Edwin Sifuna as he issued a stern warning to ODM members, urging them not to join President William Ruto's regime. In responding to queries about members of ODM who were set to join the cabinet to be announced by the president, he clarified that he has not forwarded any names to the president for appointment to the cabinet. He said his position and the one that had been taken by the party was that there were critical outstanding issues that needed to be addressed by the government before any form of engagement was entered into. And then go back into what he had said on Sunday, the preconditions before any sort of engagement. Now back to my question. The two deputy party leaders of ODM, the chairman of ODM, the leader of the minority in the National Assembly, members of ODM, all of them have now been nominated to join President Ruto's cabinet. And you support that. Should they come to the party before accepting this nomination? Should they come to the party to say, we have been nominated, please give us the way forward? Bearing in mind that the party leader has said no ODM member should join this Ruto regime.
The note from my party leader, which I saw, is the second one I spoke about, the one on his letterhead. So I don't want to talk to what other people are reporting him as having said, including Azimio TV.
Raila Odinga has reposted this particular statement. That means he's endorsed it.
I don't know. What I know,
you can check.
What I know,
at Raila Odinga.
No. I don't have to seek endorsements of what Baba has tweeted. I look at what Raila has spoken on his letterhead, and I've told you the two documents my party leader has spoken in public in his hand, the one over the weekend and the last one on his letterhead. In the last one in his letterhead, he wishes them well, but he says there is not yet formal engagement between ODM and Kenya Kwanza. But you remember it came yesterday, and he says on his letterhead that he wishes them well, and he is not saying that they should not take the positions. What I'm saying is that
I'm asking,
service
as a party,
service to nation Latiff.
Wait. My question is very specific. It's as a party, the same party that censured members who had a meeting with the president because it was expecting them to come to the party first and say, we have been invited to a meeting, give us the go-ahead. Does the party expect these four members, top leaders of the party, to come to the stock organs of the party and say, we have been appointed, nominated to join the cabinet, please give us the go-ahead?
Latiff, you're talking of the chair.
Answer the question
get
directly,
it? No, get this, Latiff. You're talking of the chair of the party.
Yes.
You are talking of two deputy leaders of the party.
Yes.
You are talking of the minority leader of the party.
Yes.
You believe that they would be appointed and accept without consulting the party. That is the machinery of the party.
So they consulted and they were given okay?
Has the party endorsed
by
this? By the party?
I told you we endorsed in our meeting that the president's power under the constitution allows him to appoint everybody and anybody in Kenya, including people in our party. What other endorsement do you need?
Okay, let me ask a different kind of question.
Yeah, what we have not done is formal engagement.
Okay.
I think what you people are asking is whether they have been given out by Raila or the party. I'm telling you, the president does not need to be given out people to serve Kenya by anybody.
All right.
He can appoint.
Why were you meeting? Because some of the things that you wrote down, according to what you said, is that you were meeting to set preconditionalities. Those were your words.
Yes.
Why were you meeting last weekend as ODM? Why did you meet? Specifically,
I gave you the 4 issues. I was going to the 5th.
I know what you discussed.
Yes.
I'm asking why you met in the first place. Why did you decide it was a good time to have a meeting at that time?
We had the issue being broached about national dialogue and the context. You remember, in terms of furthering reforms. And that is why you see those preconditions. And that is how you see national dialogue changing to national People's Convention, so that it becomes inclusive. But after those preconditions are met, and it is in that context where everything happening in the nation, including what the president had communicated, that I want to appoint all Kenyans or any Kenyan who can help serve in the government, including in other, what he called broad-based, government was discussed. And I said, I'm the one who stood there and I gave the example of Nkaiseri, and I said the president surely can appoint anybody.
Okay, so during this meeting, you were aware of information having reached ODM HQ that there would likely be appointments, nominations for individuals from the party into the cabinet. Were you aware?
At that time, there were rumors.
There were rumors?
There were rumors, and they were all over, you remember.
Okay.
There were rumors. And in fact, it is one of the things people kept broaching during the meeting.
Okay.
There are not rumors. Actually, some of that is, I don't know, you can confirm this, because the Hansard will show that the Honorable Peter Kaluma, speaking on Tuesday in the National Assembly, said the president should go ahead and nominate those other names that were forwarded to him by Raila.
Yeah, what I'll tell you is that I don't know whether names were forwarded to him. What I'd said in the meeting is that the president can appoint any Kenyan. How he gets those Kenyans, including contacting Latiff, is his business.
So there were rumors that there would be individuals from ODM nominated by the president for cabinet. Where were these rumors coming from?
In fact, not just from ODM, very many parties. The initial rumors are Charity Ngilu, very many people, very many Kenyans, I can tell you.
Okay.
And I can tell you those, if you see even the postings on Twitter, they kept changing each day, up to the last day. The initial rumors did not even have somebody like Honorable Pio Wandai, if you can remember. It was having Oparanya, Ngilu, and to me it was pleasant, because I believe what the president has lacked are people at the level of his peers who can tell him this is not right, this is not how it should be done. We've had young people in the cabinet, and not young in terms of age, but leadership experience, and people who have never sat with him, people who are just saying, oh, Doyen, you're moving well. So it was good for me when I heard people like Ngilu. You remember people like Martha Karua were being mentioned, and that is the context when this thing was being brought in the meeting.
So when you spoke in Parliament on Tuesday and you said the president should then go ahead and also nominate those whose names have been sent to him by Raila, you were just perpetuating the same rumor.
No, there was information people would be appointed.
There was information?
And was there...
There was information. It was rumors all over.
Did you have information, as you said in Parliament, at the point when you're speaking in Parliament, that Raila has forwarded names to the president?
No, I didn't have.
So why did you say it?
What we had said there is that whether the president consults Raila or Latiff or Muga to get the people, or he gets them himself, he has the power to appoint.
So what were you saying in Parliament, Mheshimiwa?
So was there a list? Because you said very clearly in Parliament that the rest of the names on the list should actually be forwarded. Where did you get that information from?
I was clear in Parliament. I don't know why you are asking me the things I say.
I want you to clarify. It wasn't clear.
I don't need to clarify. People have been appointed. They are Kenyans. Let us not take much time on it. And remember when I spoke in Parliament,
yes,
you saw me, the Kaluma you didn't know. I'm never emotional. I'm never that, passionate.
Yeah, you were
There is something
passionate.
I was reacting to. And you remember, for the first time, I mentioned communities.
What were you reacting to?
Not that they should not be mentioned, but I mentioned communities. You get what I mean? Yeah. Now, at that time, the rumor was becoming more and more clearer and patent, and we were getting to know that Honorable John Mbadi, including Honorable Wandai, were under consideration. And when that came up, Latiff, our members of parliament went into their tribal bigotry and cocoons. And the thing that started running around Muga was these are two Luos, these are two big portfolios for Luos. That is why I said, but what is wrong with the Luo? If that be the case, let them go. In any event, I'm telling you, somebody like Mbadi is not Luo. You know what I mean? And that is what I was reacting to. And you've seen these jokes. Go up to yesterday, you saw groups addressing the media. You saw it in KTN, in Spice, all over, saying Mbadi should leave. I'm telling you, up to last night, Baba, who returned to the country yesterday, could not go home even to cure his jet lag. Communities are going to him as if he's the one appointing. I'm telling them, let Baba rest.
All right.
You want those positions, go and talk with the president outside there.
Is there division in ODM? You've spoken very clearly now about the Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, saying 1, 2, 3. Is there a split in ODM over this recent activity and engagement?
Sifuna is the Secretary General of the party.
Is there a split in ODM?
There is no split.
Okay.
He's the official spokesperson of the party, isn't he?
Yes.
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly.
So the position that he gives when he comes out and speaks in public forum is the position of the party?
Should be the position of the party.
What he said, what he said, was that the position of the party, if he's the official spokesman of the party?
If it came from the resolutions of the party, it is. And remember, I've told you, there is a way Sifuna spoke, not giving you the full context I've given you. If he gave the full context, you'd have understood him to be speaking the same thing. The thing is that he picked a slice and he never gave you the whole picture I'm giving you about the resolutions.
So based on that, I ask the question again. Is the resolution across board still giving the picture of a unified Orange Democratic Movement?
The Orange Democratic Movement is the strongest political party. Edwin Sifuna is the Secretary General of the party. Kaluma is a loyal and strong member, Tata member of the party. We don't contradict ourselves, except that we are talking in bits and pieces. Let us go out whenever we talk, to talk the whole thing. And that is why I was telling you, when you saw James Orengo, for instance, I was telling you we cannot accept anything in government before we deal with essentially the preconditions. He's not saying there were preconditions, then these were to fall into place. So we are saying the same thing, but in bits and pieces.
Have the preconditions been met?
Yeah, a number of them are being met to pleasantly. I can tell you, I saw the president say that anybody who is under arrest, should go home. I know.
Have they been released?
There are considerations. That is for all Kenyans now to be alert and to do the audit and to confirm that anybody who was detained enjoying their constitutional rights, are duly released. We had pressed for termination of cases. I know that requires procedure because the office of the DPP is an independent office. But I know that should also happen because there is nobody to try anybody for enjoying their constitutional rights. I know as somebody in government that there is consideration in terms of compensation. And I think this is the biggest reason as to why I want us to have dialogue or a national conversation before compensation.
Okay.
Because look, what if the president decides I'm giving each family 100,000? We've left it to him to decide as he will. So he would have done compensation but not adequate quantum he would have discussed.
So then...
And you see the Gen Zs who are talking about ethnic balance. The cabinet was dissolved. A cabinet which has a bit of more competent people, I know, and has a bit of a better face of Kenya. It has been proposed, will be undergoing vetting. So there is some progress. Let us keep seeking more.
What is it that you would tell the deputy party leaders of ODM, the chairman of ODM, and the leader of a minority, who's an ODM member, about this? Do you want to tell them that before these preconditions are met, they should not take up their positions in the government? Those preconditions include: 1, revert our public healthcare insurance back to NHIF.
Correct.
And discard SHIF. 2, prosecute all security sector perpetrators who have facilitated atrocities to peaceful Kenyans. 3, resolution of outstanding healthcare workers' welfare and education, that's JSS teachers' grievances. 4, disputes all protest-related cases and compensation for every victim of police brutality. Baba's statement says, without this, we first sort out these issues, then we can then talk about our conversation.
We sort out those issues.
Now the question is, what do you, as a member of the party and as a ranking member of ODM, tell your deputy party leaders and your chairman? Do you want to tell them, until these conditions are met, don't enter that government?
My deputy party leaders are Wycliffe Oparanya and Governor Joe, the chairman of my party, who should be resigning, the Honorable John Mbadi, my minority leader who will be leaving that seat, the Honorable Pio and I. The call to serve the nation is great. You are going into cabinet will enable you working together with the president and the nation to resolve some of these issues. So go and serve as these issues are resolved. And when they come to your desk, please attend to them, because Kenyans did not say dissolve government. The government exists, and the government has to be there for some of those things to be done. So join the president and the government, the people of Kenya, in addressing those issues.
The Honorable Peter Kaluma, Member of Parliament for Homa Bay Town constituency and Assistant Speaker in the National Assembly. Thank you for joining us. Loyal ODM party member.
Yes.
At 9 a.m.
I'm Edwin Lisamira. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition is falling apart as the NAK Kenya party announced its exit on Thursday, citing untenable political developments. This came after ODM leader Raila Odinga distanced himself from involvement in the appointment of 4 of his party members to the cabinet. Odinga, who wished the nominees well, said President Ruto's decision to appoint them was not informed by a coalition agreement between ODM and the ruling UDA. But Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni said President Ruto made the appointments to cripple the opposition.
With this move, he has attempted to destroy multi-party democracy and seize control of the parliamentary system. Additionally, Ruto is working to silence the voices of the opposition, both inside and outside of parliament. Ruto's continued cannibalization of political parties. He's done this to Jubilee in the past. He's now doing it to ODM. Goes against the letter and spirit of the Constitution of Kenya. It also offends the National Dialogue Committee report.
Meanwhile, cracks have deepened in the ODM party over the appointments, with Secretary General Edwin Sifuna calling for the resignation of the nominees. On Thursday, Sifuna said he was ready to relinquish his position if his sentiments conflict with the party's position. He insisted that the 4 nominees did not have Raila's blessing and their appointment did not represent the party's position.
So, did we know that people were negotiating with Ruto? Yes, we knew. Was it something that was being done officially or formally through the party structures? No. Did we endorse a decision by these 4 individuals to join government? No. It is not a decision of ODM. If you are getting into a government of national unity, you will show me a document. Even the much maligned handshake between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, there was a document. You saw the 2 of them at Harambee House saying this is what we have agreed.
Sifuna's sentiments were later supported by Saboti MP Kaleba Messi, who said the ODM nominees, who include John Mbadi, Wycliffe Oparanya, Opiyo Wandayi and Hassan Joho, are no longer considered members of ODM. At the same time, Lugari MP Nabi Nabwera labelled the nominees as vultures, saying they took advantage of the prevailing political crisis in the country. 60 people are now known to have died in anti-government protests, and another 66 allegedly kidnapped by police are still missing, according to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. This comes even as activists marched in the Nairobi CBD on Thursday to demand justice for the victims of the demos. They decried police brutality and vowed to keep fighting for justice.
Instead of the police providing the protection, instead of the police coming to guide the protesters, what we saw earlier today is that tear gas was used, ammunition was used against the same protesters. Now, Mr. Boniface Mwangi is being held at the Kamukunji police station.
It is clear that the president supports. It is clear that the officers the state officers are okay with everything that's happening and they are encouraging it. If there was any deterrent, we would not be seeing this much force.
The office of the president immediately calls for the suspension of all officers highlighted in the social media using excessive force pending finalization of investigations. Corporate power.
The chief administrative secretary positions are to be scrapped and the number of principal secretaries capped to reduce government spending. The Senate has resolved to introduce legislation to merge parastatals and state agencies that perform duplicate functions to achieve a lean government. The legislators unanimously approved the motion in response to calls by Kenyans following the Gen Z protests. Recently, Parliament approved an amendment to the legislation effectively allowing the president to appoint the chief administrative secretaries following a court ruling that nullified their appointments. But the president was forced to put on hold the appointments following the demos. The Philippine Coast Guard is preparing to deploy floating barriers and suction hoses to contain an oil spill and prevent it from reaching the capital, Manila. Authorities are racing to stop the oil spill from a ship which capsized on Thursday as monsoon rains battered large swathes of the country. They said the leak appeared to be coming from the ship's engine, not its cargo tank, which was carrying close to 1.5 million litres of industrial fuel. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, still busy in the city, and we're looking at traffic, still quite some on the Thika Superhighway just around that underpass area, and also some traffic as you're coming in from the Eastern Bypass through towards North Airport Road. Still going to be busy for a bit, but it's reducing significantly, so we should be out of that in no time. We're still keeping an eye on things around the city. Let's see what happens as we get closer to traffic hour. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Ben low, nin inte, nin there, ayu markati kadikta. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive that. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, "No, you fellow, you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat."
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Are people meeting us in the DMs with their Britam screenshots?
They need to.
Yeah?
They need to come into the DMs, and I think we're seeing a couple of people doing that already this morning. What you do need to do today is fund your account. Do you have a money market fund account, or do you have a smart yield account? You need to go to ke.britam.com and find out how to open that. Once you do, pay 1,000 shillings or at least top up your account, yes, and then take a screenshot of that, visit us in the DMs across the platforms, SpiceFM KE, let us know that you've done that, and 5,000 shillings could be yours today. Watch your money grow at 13.5% on a short-term investment tenure or at 14% on a longer term with a smart yield account. Do it with Britam. Do it today.
Some people have already done this. Kimanthi, I can see the brand. It's because the brand. Who's that? It's because the brand. Huh? Akona jina huyo. It's because the brand. The second on there. Second DM there.
Oh yeah.
He's also done the same.
Jerry Atambo's done the same.
Jerry's done the same. Yeah. So one of you is going to be picked at the end of this hour to be today's winner of 5,000 shillings, courtesy of Britam. Just because you've put 1,000 bob into your money market fund or your smart yield account. Hambo namna hiyo. So we have been seeing very, very interesting times, especially with our young Kenyans. Our children, grandchildren, young brothers and sisters, nephews and cousins have become very, very active. And now they're not just sitting there. There's a constitution in Kenya. No. They're the ones who are saying Article 88 of the Constitution of Kenya talks about why? And they're putting content out there on social media where they're discussing what the Constitution says about various things that they think. Right? Some of them you're looking at it and you think, I'm not sure that's the interpretation of that article that you... But the good thing is that you're consuming. And you're getting an opinion around it. And we are getting more and more woke. Now, I have come across young Kenyans who have actually said, you know what, I'm even looking for a copy of the Constitution so that I can read it for myself. So this thing of that, I don't know, I'm not hearing. I hear, I refer, and I see it's true. Right? So there's a need then for Kenyans to get access to the Constitution. There's somebody who has actually taken up that mantle. Even before this Gen Z movement had started, she had already started doing this. She authored a Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. Her name is Sandra Ochola. Sandra, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm keeping well, thank you. And how are you?
Very well. It's good to say that you're a lawyer.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Advocate of the High Court.
Yes.
Admitted to the bar.
Yes.
And you have a number. And you're legitimate.
Yeah.
If we go to the Law Society of Kenya, we will actually find you.
You will actually find it. Yes, you'll actually find the number. The status, then it's
it's like this, like that.
It's like this, like that.
Because of various other reasons. Which you can explain.
Yes.
Very good. Siti.
Yes.
Please give Sandra the day's proverb.
I will.
So you know what happens. Every week he goes to one African country. He brings us proverbs every day. A new proverb every day.
All right.
Okay. This week he's been in the Union of the Comoros.
Yes, I have.
That's what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
The Union of the Comoros.
Yes, that is so. A chicken with beautiful plumage does not sit in a corner.
A chicken with beautiful plumage does not sit in a corner.
Yes.
What's your interpretation of it?
My interpretation is if you have it, you must flaunt it.
Proper. Straight up. Akunati, you know.
Well, once upon a time, when the elephant was crossing the river and it stopped and spoke to the rabbit.
Yo, right?
Siniako.
Hebu jionyeshe. Hebu jionyeshe. Hebu jitokeze.
Bas,
chema cha jiuza. Wewe mwenyewe. Beat your own drum.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think it's telling us? That it's important to boast and gloat?
It's not boast, exactly. It's an appreciation of who you are, a recognition of who you are, your talents, your capacities, and getting that out there to the world. Because I think we've grown up in a system that tells us when you talk about yourself, then you are being too much. You're either too much or you're too little. When you're too much, it's an issue. When you're too little, it's also an issue. So I think it's a recognition of who you are, an appreciation of who you are, and then putting that out there to the world. Because then again, if you do not know and you do not share, then people will not know what they need to know.
Is it too much, too little, or is it how? Because you can talk about what you've done, you can talk about your achievements, and it can present as simply giving information. On the other hand, you can present it, same information, the manner now, in a manner that suggests that apart from you, really, there is nobody else who exists who has those qualities. And it is best that people understand that you are unique and you are special, and essentially you are better than all of them, that sort of thing.
But who determines the how, though?
You do.
Yeah. Who determines the how? It's the person, most
It
times
is you
it's the
who
person
determines the
who's... I could say it the way you're saying it, that I could say it, I believe that I am... Yeah? But for you, you're going to interpret it as something else too much.
Yes.
Yeah?
That is true. That is also very true. Because you see, for instance, if one says, I have offered a book that makes it easy for people to understand the Constitution of Kenya. Fact. No one else has been able to do that, to condense the Constitution in a manner that youthful people of a certain age can actually understand it. It is a fact. Now, if that information is given, that when someone decides that it is too much, then that actually is a different conversation now. You've entered the realm of divvying out problems. And that problem is not your problem, it's their problem. It's their problem, it's not yours.
Yeah. So don't sit it goes back to the proverb, don't sit at the corner.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Yes.
I'm the best author of the Constitution.
Yes, and if you're arguing, tell
You
us.
go and offer your own
You go and
book.
author. Oh, show us the one you've authored, so we can compare.
Okay, so tell us about this book then. Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya.
The Teen's Guide
Let's
to the...
start from the thinking.
Yes. The Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. It's a simplified version of a Constitution of Kenya 2010. And it's intended to promote law-related and constitutional education amongst young people. And my first reason for it, there are actually three reasons. My first one is that I realized that I did not know much about my country. Yes, I grew up in the Moi era, and so in terms of leadership and politics, Moi is all I knew, and for most of my generation, Moi is all we knew. He's the one you watched on telly morning to night, you go to school, you have the milk, and you are singing the loyalty pledge, you come back home, that's the conversation that's being had on the dinner table. So that was my interpretation, and for most of my generation, that was our interpretation of leadership and politics. And it's only later on that I'd finished school, gotten into the workforce. I was just starting out in the civil society space. And it happened that it's during that period that we were rebuilding post the 2007-2008 post-election violence. And that's when you get all this information about historical injustices and all these reports, all this manner of conversations. And I asked myself, why wasn't I told? Why didn't I know? Right? Because as a young person, this is information that affected me. That I think that's at the point when I first had my first engagement, or my first, I'd say, engagement with issues tribalism. Yeah, where you've grown up with people and you imagine that you are together, you're friends, but then it comes to politics at that particular point, you're no longer friends. And I wondered why this had such an impact on me and my generation. So that was one. Secondly, then now as we move along this recovery process and these reform processes, I worked with a number of organizations that were now concerned with, first, issues of transitional justice. Secondly, there was an organization that focused on the monitoring the implementation of the KNDR, the Kenya National Dialogue and Reconciliation Accord. And third was Katiba Institute that was now focused on issues of the Constitution. So it's a combination of past issues, it's a combination of reform issues, and then it's a combination, now we have a constitution that we are moving forward. But then what I realized was that there is very little information that is being given to young people. Most of the material, the civic education material and engagements that are being done are done by legal experts or for adults. Whatever communication is out there, whatever material is out there is being made for adults. And yet I often say a 13 or a 14-year-old today, come the next general election, he or she will be expected to vote. And he or she will be expected to perhaps even stand for office and make decisions. But what kind of preparation has been made, or what kind of preparation has been done to these young people, to this young person, to enable them to take up those positions as they should? And then the third reason I realized was that this disenfranchisement or this exclusion from civic education, it's not necessarily because there's something negative towards young people. I think it's also just a cultural thing where children are not supposed to be not invited to the table. You know, the assumption is that there are certain things they do not know, and even if they did, there are certain places that they should not be engaging in. But like I said earlier, the challenge comes in when they are actually supposed to be making those decisions or sitting at the table, they do not have the knowledge, they do not have the skills, they do not have the capacity. And so the book addresses those three issues, right? One, in terms of providing the young people with accurate history of where they are, so that we are not brushing over the issues that we have. If it was post-election violence, it is what it was what it was. And so these are the reasons that caused it. This is what to look out for in the future. This is what to expect. If it's issues of corruption, if it's issues about bad governance, so to speak, that's provided in the book, so that as a young person you understand where you are coming from and where you are heading to. And then now to address the issues of access to information, then it has simplified the constitution and made it very age appropriate, made it colorful, and then also included activities to ensure that young people then are able to get the information and internalize it in a manner that they're able to.
When I look at that particular book and what the role it can play, not just in sensitizing and informing people, but in changing the way in which we relate to our constitution, the question I have to ask is, how exactly have you planned to get this book out to those who need it most and those who are able to benefit from it?
I do agree that it's one of the ways to change our attitude towards our attitude and engagement towards the Constitution or with the Constitution. So what we have done is, one is to create platforms where young people are able to engage. And one of the things we have is called the Young Citizens Program, where now we are reaching out to schools where the young people are. We are reaching out to them through churches. We are reaching out to them through the various communities that they have. And then now finding means and ways which to engage with them on a short-term basis, and for some of them on a long-term basis. For example, my friends and I, we were at Alliance High School yesterday, and what we often do is we go to a school or we go to where the young people are, and we seek audience. We take perhaps a half a day where we choose a section of the Constitution. Is it leadership and integrity? Is it citizenship? And we find means and ways of discussing this with the young people. Now, moving forward, there are plans to have this put into schools so that it forms part of the
curriculum.
Yes, it forms part of the curriculum, so that a grade 6 or a grade 7 or even a high schooler is able to use this as a reference material, right? So that it's part of the material that you get when you're doing your social studies or history classes or whichever other geography, whatever it is, then this book forms part of the material that you use as a reference material. So then now we are catering for the students and the children in school, and also establishing programs and platforms out of school where now we can engage them holistically on the Constitution.
If I may ask, so I take it by what you've said that you have had conversations with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development.
It's already approved.
It's already approved.
Yeah, it's already
so
approved,
been approved?
as a reference material.
Oh, what does that mean when you say reference material?
Reference material. You have say for social studies or for, I'll give you an example with English. You have the main English textbook, right? That now you use to do your exercises. But then you can be told you get this extra book that can now, like a dictionary or an atlas, So you have the main course material, but then now this comes in as a reference material or a complementary material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does our constitution, much as it has been built as a very progressive constitution, does it provide specifically for civic education, for people to get to know about governance, for people to get to understand the constitution and the other laws that are attendant to it?
It does to a large extent and all through. And directly and indirectly. We've had the conversations in the public space about we the people, exercising it directly or indirectly, requiring then that people exercise the constitution. The constitution, whatever institution is undertaking public duty or engaging in any public exercise, then they're expected to engage the public, and part of that public participation is then engaging in civic education and letting the public know what it is exactly you're going to do, what decisions are you going to make, and what is their role in it. So it's across all decisions made, it's across all through the constitution as each and every one of us exercises their rights and freedoms.
Do you find that there's desire, that there's real genuine raw interest in folks wanting to really know what the ultimate law of the nation says, or what it does, or what it provides, or what it protects for? Is there desire innate for people to know?
Yes, there is a desire, directly again and indirectly, and the indirect part comes in when you are put in a situation where you need to get out of that situation. Say it's a legal issue. You definitely go and look for information to help you address your case or to help you get out of that mix. And now, given the situation that we have across the country, then you have many young people saying, or even the older generation saying, that we've gotten to a point where we want the law to work for us. So which is this law? Where can I find it? And how can I use it to my benefit? So there's a lot of hunger and there's a lot of curiosity. We've seen that in the public space. And it's not just right now. I'll tell you, like the experience we had yesterday with the young people, they are very eager, they are very knowledgeable, they are very woke. Yes, they're very woke, socially mobile. And you'll find some of the questions we are being asked, now we have a constitution, is it really working for us? And there are young people who can actually talk to you about the contents of the constitution. So that shows they might not be out there with that information, they might not be implementing it where we expect them to implement it, but they're actually engaging with the document. Yeah.
There's a lot of legalese, though, in the document of the constitution, in other laws, even when we have the Kenya law reform and, posting even the language, the judgments from the court and all the laws, it's still a lot of legalese. Is there a need to break it down on what's the best way to break it down for all audiences? Because not all of us will not understand that whole thing of, unless you have a guy who comes and we see him on TV and the people shall, the people may, and you're like, hiya. That's actually the difference there. That how do we get to break it down, break down all these legal matters for people to understand better?
One, I believe it's identifying your target audience. And in this case, it's, if you're talking about the Teens Guide, it's identifying that it's young people that you want to engage in. So what is it that makes young people absorb information, if you could put it in that framework? One, it has to be short and to the point. They're not going to read very lengthy texts, they already have that in school. So they're not going to read very lengthy texts. At the same time, they're very visual. Being very visual, you want to include color, you want to include illustrations, and the illustrations also have to be very relatable to them, so that you go through the book, you're going to find if it's a young man who's depicted, is not dressed in lots of drab, it's not flashy, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Fashionable.
Yes, fashionable, in fashionable attire. They need illustrations. And then third, how do you engage young people? Then you make it questions and answers. We've given options for activities. Some you can do on your own, others you can do in terms of group work. And then at the same time, making it the information relatable. I remember when I first developed the first draft of it, as I was developing the manuscript, because this is the second edition. The first edition was launched in 2016. So when I first developed the first draft and I gave it to someone for review, an editor, I wrote the first manuscript. I wrote it with a lot of you need to do this, or it's very instructional. But the advice was, the review was, you have to make it relatable, so that you bring in the question of, do you know? Are you aware? This is the constitution. For use a lot of you relatable language to move it forward. So it goes back to identifying your target audience, and then very critical understanding of how they operate, what they think, and what they want.
Okay, let's take a break. 29 minutes after 9. Our guest this morning is Sandra Ochola. She's an advocate. She's the author of a book called Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. She's so far told us about the book, the thinking behind it, the justification for why she did all this painstaking work, and what she's currently now enjoying, engaging with young people and seeing them bright and actually engaging and enjoying the contents of the book.
Yeah.
Plus also you getting the feedback and seeing, actually, these little munchkins understand things. We've been thinking that they
don't.
They don't. We'll be back shortly and the conversation continues.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If you're looking for a health insurance plan that is affordable, comprehensive, and tailored,
Are you ready to unleash your creativity and dive into the dynamic world of media? Then listen up. At Standard Talanta Academy, a collaboration between Talanta Institute and Standard Group, we are redefining the rules of the game. With our Media Mastery course, you'll embark on a journey that goes beyond the ordinary. From TV and film production, photography to digital journalism, our curriculum is designed to equip you with the skills needed to thrive in today's media landscape. But we are not just about theory, we are about action. Our hands-on approach means you will be creating, producing, and innovating from day one. And with Standard Group, home to KTN, Radio Maisha, Vibes Radio, SpiceFM, and the Standard newspaper, you'll have unparalleled access to industry expertise and real-world opportunities. So, if you're ready to turn your passion into profit, join us at Standard Talanta Academy and unlock your full potential. Visit www.talanta.ac.ke or call 0724 468 468 for more information. Standard Talanta Academy. Unleash creativity.
The weather with Spice FM.
Okay, 15 degrees and cloudy conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 24, highs of 25 in a partly sunny Nakuru, and it's 17 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 22 in a mostly sunny Eldoret at 17. 26 and sunny in Mombasa with highs of 29 and highs of 29 in a sunny Malindi at 27. 24 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 28, while Kakamega at 23 is sunny. We'll see highs of 28. Kampala is sunny at 24 with highs of 28 as well, and we'll see highs of 31 in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 24. 10 degrees and sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 20, and it's 27 and sunny in Mogadishu going to highs of 27. 18 and cloudy in Addis Ababa with highs of 21. There's a haze over Lagos skies at 25 with highs of 29. Partly sunny at 21 in Kinshasa. 32 and sunny in Beijing Friday going towards early afternoon. Highs of 33. It's raining in Paris on the day the Olympics begin. Let's see what happens through evening. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 18. And London is sunny at 16. 23 will be the high with the lows of 14. And we finish in the Big Apple, where on Thursday night, New York is clear at 21. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of 29 and lows of 21. We're coming out of traffic hour. What's happening on the Thika Superhighway? Just a little bit of that left as you go towards the Pangani Tunnel. But you should be able to get out of this without a scratch. It doesn't look too bad. Landis Road also reducing in traffic as you get towards Haile Selassie at that Kamkunji junction. So one to watch out for. It's also looking a lot better coming off the Eastern Bypass. Traffic has reduced significantly. And it looks like so we're getting into an A-OK Friday. Let's keep talking through the morning. Spice FM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
With Wakili Sandra Ochola, author of The Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya.
Okay, so I mean, this is very interesting because you laid the background in terms of what spurred you on to do this, and then the interest that we see obviously across the nations. Who is it we talk about folks will then be able to read it and it becomes reference for them. And is this across the country?
Yes, it is. It is across the country, and it's ideally for a teenager. Teen's Guide to the Constitution, ages between 13 to 19, and being in a space where they're giving them opportunities and platforms where they're able to access the information and they're able to access the book. At the moment, the book is available at the Nuria stores in Nairobi, but now with the KCD approval and with the increased attention for the book and the increased demand for the book, our intention is now to take it all across the country. And I often say, while the book has been developed for a teenager between 13 to 19, because it's this period that now you're able to infuse values, and clear values in an individual. By the time someone gets to 20, 25, there are certain things and certain value systems that are already set. So this is the right opportunity for us to give them the information for us to give them the kind of education and the kind of value system, to inculcate in them the kind of value system we'd like for them to have. So while it's been made and created for a teenager, 13 to 19, they're still young adults, and they're still adults and even those of the older generation who find it valuable. Because as you said, the Constitution, the one we have, the main one, is very technical, has a lot of legalese. So it's a material that has cut across all age groups as much as it was written for the 13 to 19-year-old.
Do you have to deal with a misconception, what I think is a misconception, that because you understand the things of governance and that you want to have a knowledge and understanding, that it is by necessity pushing you towards a position in government, which may not necessarily be the case? Do you have to deal with that where someone says, okay, well, now that I understand it, now I want to be a member of parliament or I want to be a governor? Whereas we can have folks who are aware of what the law is about the Constitution, about government and how its structures work in order for us to really have citizen-based governance.
Exactly.
Do you deal with that?
I do deal with that. And it's largely in the public space, I could say, because the perception is that the more knowledgeable you are, the more, and ideally it's true, the knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more powerful you are. So then now it boils down to how you're going to use this power that you have because of the knowledge that you have. To
monetize the power.
Yes, you monetize the power and use it to rule other people, and use it as a tool, as a tool for access. And ideally, as you said, most people now use it then to get into politics. And I guess those are now the kind of decisions that we need to have with our young people, because the law is for you to use for your benefit. It doesn't matter what station in life you are or wherever you come from. You need to know the law, and you need to know how to use it, because then it helps also the community and the young people then get to understand how they can engage in governance, right? Some of the conversations that we are having right now, for instance, if we start talking to a young person about leadership and governance, some of the questions we ask, what's the difference between a politician and a leader? What's the difference between leadership and politics? Getting them to a space where they can have those conversations. Then now, once we are clear on what leadership is, then now it's easier to engage a young person on chapter 6. For instance, now we are aware of leadership. Then what is leadership and integrity? What do you expect from a leader?
The Constitution is a very big document, right? How many chapters does it have?
17.
Okay. And very many articles.
Yes.
So how did you choose to compress this?
Well, it's the Teen's Guide to the Constitution. It has all the chapters, right from chapter 1 to chapter 2. Then it has an introductory section, right from the first chapter to the last. Right? So you take chapter 1, you condense it, you place it in you put it in a manner that the young people are able to absorb it. Chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. So it cuts across all the chapters of the Constitution.
Do you thread the chapters one into the other so one can then relate that what I'm reading in chapter 8 is related to that chapter 1.
Exactly.
And what I'm reading in chapter 16 is related to chapter 9. Right?
Exactly. It's like I said, it's a guide, so you don't deviate so much from the original document, so that even the person who's going to use the main constitution is still able to relate it. And then, just like you said, the threading aspect of it, there are certain things that cut across. When you're going to talk about the values, Article 10, for instance, you find a way of having that included in all the chapters, so that then it's not just a reading material, it's also a source of lifelong learning. Yeah.
Have you managed to get feedback from people who've interacted with this publication in the schools you've gone to?
Yes. Very positive, because like we started, and I'm hoping now you won't interpret it differently. It's the first of its kind. Yeah. It's the first of its kind. And so then, and at least one that has gotten to that level where now you're actually engaging teenagers, because that has been a gap for a long while. Right? That has been a gap for quite a while. Like we said, we started out by saying the civic education, but there are particular groups that have been left out of that civic education. So the feedback has been very positive, not only by the caregivers and the parents and the teachers and the institutions, but also by the young people themselves.
Okay, let me interpret this badly now.
That's plumage.
Yeah, that's plumage.
There. Walk around. Why should I call? Somebody's asking, okay, so first of all, to remind you, the title of the book is The Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya. And you've said physical copies are available in...
at the Nuria store.
The Nuria store.
Yeah.
Is it available online?
It's right now. It's available physically at the Nuria store, and they also have. You can also order online, and then you have the Young Citizens program as well that now provides the information. It breaks it down in a digital format. So for those of you, you can reach out to me on social media, and then now we can see how to get you into the Young Citizens program.
Okay. So what's the social media handle then?
Sandra Ochola. It's Sandra Ochola crossboard.
Sandra Ochola on all social media platforms. Yes. Reach out to you, and then you can help them to get the book.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is all about making sure that our young people get to understand, get to have access to that civic education, get to interact better with our constitution, with our laws, so they are better in governance. So far, you're running several programs. And you've told us you've been to schools, you've been here and the other. Who's funding you?
Well, if there's a funder or a sponsor out there, please reach out, because it's been since 2015. I'd say it's been a lonesome journey, if I could say that, because since 2015 the first material was launched in 2016, the second one in the second edition developed in 2022. So it's most of it has been it's been a personal initiative, so to speak. So it's now that with the putting the material out there that I'm looking for partners, and I'm looking for individuals who we can join hands in getting this information out there. Yeah, so I'm open to those partnerships. I'm open to those sponsorships, especially for those engaged in civic education and those involved with young people in this space.
But with the approval by KICT as reference material, that means that now it can be purchased by schools.
Yes.
And made available to all the schools.
Exactly.
So then the next thing would be, how do you encourage the young people to read the book, to engage on the book, to debate on the book? And that would mean that now you start looking at various clubs that are available in schools.
Yeah.
Currently, what structures are there for like clubs in schools and all?
And that, like I said, that is one of the mechanisms that you are using. It's in school in terms of it being used within the classroom structures, and then now out of school where now you are creating those platforms. And ideally, one of those platforms then is like the clubs. You have debate clubs, you have the journalism clubs, where you have law clubs even. A number of clubs, yeah. So then now with the program, because the program is not just out of school, like I said, the Young Citizens program, then we take it in school, yeah, and we say within this particular club, then could you give us a day in a week? Yeah, could you give us a day or two, or maybe a day or 3 in a month, where now we can come and engage the members of this particular club. We can come and engage the law clubs. And then what we have tried to do with the program itself is to make it fun. Because again, we have to cater to the age group, make it fun. So we have debates, we have games, and then there's also the need to expose them to professionals in the industry, depending on the issues that we are discussing at that particular point. So then, do we have lawyers coming in? Do we have judges coming in? Do we have educators coming in? So that then it's not only them learning on their own, but then having other people coming to feed into the knowledge that they already have, and by that then encouraging intergenerational conversations.
What do you think it means to have a youth or this teenage group who in the next 10, 15 years will be at the place where, or maybe not even that far, even closer from what we are seeing currently? What does it actually mean to have this group of people who is knowledgeable about the things that concern them as citizens of a nation? Why?
It then means peace. It means prosperity, it means development, it means a healthy nation, because the purpose of the law is then to promote those things, so that you are able to use the law towards that purpose for yourself in the event that your rights and your freedoms are being violated, for your community, what opportunities does it present for you to improve your community. So then having a generation that is knowledgeable, having a generation that knows the Constitution, having a generation that then can use the law and the Constitution to their benefit, then improves the quality of life for that generation and improves the society in general. So it's very critical for them to have this information, and the earlier, the better. So that, like I said, we are starting quite early, and then we're inculcating in them the kind of values that we want them to have. Because then again, you see with the kind of conversations we have, there's issues of culture. Culture takes a long time for you to build. There are issues of values and value systems. You cannot build that in one day and change that in one day. So the earlier we begin, the better for us as a society.
We talked of, I asked about feedback earlier on. When you get feedback, is there a structured manner in which you receive the feedback? Is there structured way in which you ask for feedback?
Right now, it's been mostly on social media and on the various platforms that we've created with the book, where you have individuals who say, I'd like the book, I really like this book, where can I get it? Largely, and it's through our social media platforms. That is what we are using right now, mostly.
Well, I asked a question, for instance, you said there are 17 chapters. I'm certain that if someone goes through these chapters, there'll be chapters that appeal to them more than others.
Yes.
For instance, the Bill of Rights. Okay? Because if you introduce someone to a concept that they can relate to, vis-a-vis others that they may not relate to as much, it then gives us a platform from which now you can have a debate and to understand why it is they have a preference and why it is they don't have a preference for others. Now, that information is actually pertinent in that it actually even gives you the capacity to project how people will respond to the law when it is actually put into practice. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you start with the theory part of it, which is the discussion. But then you think of another, like if you ask me, the Bill of Rights is exceedingly, not extremely, exceedingly important because it opens one's mind to these enormous possibilities that you have as a person and where it is that our Constitution places you. Now, other things now can relate to just this very... Now, when it started early, see, we keep thinking of high schools. And me, my mind actually went to kindergarten. And I was thinking, what would it be like if kindergarten children who are at the age of 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, interacted with the Constitution? What exactly would we get? And if you're thinking of the effect, what do you think a child who interacts with the Constitution in kindergarten, when they get to primary school, how will it affect the way they even relate to the school, their life? Now think of these children when they now get to secondary school.
And especially now with CBC, which is looking at encouraging the children to think beyond, question, and test and try out things. When it's sending them, go there and let's clean the community, go there and participate in these kind of activities. So maybe is the challenge here, go younger?
Yes, I'm just thinking of possibilities.
So there's a teens guide, then there's a pre-teens guide,
yes,
then there's
a tween guide.
Yes, exactly.
A tween guide.
Yes,
a toddler's guide.
Yes.
I like that. That's a really good challenge, and I like what you say. In terms of the guide providing a basis for other conversations. In terms of the human rights, you take one topic and then you can predict what kind of conversations people are going to have around it. And I'll give an example. Yesterday, when we were engaging with the boys at the school, the kind of conversations that are there in the public, a young man comes up and says, now this constitution, it's not working for us. I say, why? Because then, especially this women rep position, all these women...
why do we have them?
Why do we have all these women? Why do we have all these women reps? Tell me 1 or 3 women reps, what are they doing and all that? So then, depending on who he's talking to, or depending on where the conversation is had, then that will it's an opportunity for conversation, and it's an opportunity for you to talk about the constitution and talk about society in general, because then that got us into the place where we are saying, why do you think we have provisions, or why do you think the constitution is providing for women representative positions? What was it that it was trying to cure? And will you say that the reason as to why we have women rep positions in the constitution has been cured? So then you have that kind of discussion, so that it's not just learning the constitution, but interrogating it, engaging in it, and by then broadening your mind and broadening your conversations on issues of society.
There's something that you said earlier, among the reasons and your journey towards authoring this book was your own life. You grew up and there were very many things that were happening in the country and you were just oblivious to. And then you become now a young adult and these things start coming and popping to you, and you start interacting and engaging with them, and you're like, how come I did not know that? So there was sort of, there was civic education, but civic education was just in the structure. We have a DODC. I did civics in my days in primary school at the beginning of 844, and it was just teaching us this. The structure of government, but nothing deeper. And then there was a need now to start interacting with deeper knowledge of it. So Ndu asked you how you see then the youth who consume this kind of content now becoming the kind of citizen that they become in the future. I want you to go back there. Paint for us the picture of you as you were growing up and the adults that you became versus the youth that you're interacting with now and the adults that you see them becoming. Show us the difference. Because of more increased access to this kind of material, this is the kind of citizen that we will have in the future, and how different that will be from the current older citizens.
I'd say it's either by design or just things happening. You have instances like what I believe myself and my generation went through was very intentional. The indoctrination, very intentional at a very young age. So then you get to a certain age and you have a very distorted view of your country. You have a very distorted view of your place and role in that country, and you have a very distorted view of the laws and the structures that exist. And then that, of course, then does a number of things to you. You're not able to identify when things go wrong, for instance, because you do not know. We talk about issues of human rights. If you do not know that you have a right to water or a clean environment or housing, you will not know whether that is being promoted or whether that is being violated. If you do not know you have your political rights, you do not know. I remember an instance where there was a young man, there was something on social media, and I think a young man was being arrested. So he's struggling. He doesn't want to be arrested, and you have people surrounding him. And they say, wacha kushike, lazima kushike, wacha tu akushike, utajulia mbele. Utajulia mbele. Now, that just tells you the kind of mindset. They don't have the information, and even if they do, they don't know how to implement it, And so those are the kind of things. Just, it gets you to a point where it takes away the agency from you. That lack of information takes away the agency from you. And my generation people, I'm hoping this is not going to come out in a weird way, but then that perhaps could explain to an extent why the millennials are being accused of being very
pathetic.
They're just laid back.
Lethargic.
They're very laid back.
They're even better than the X's.
Yeah.
X ni kina sisi. Nyinyi mko, I think you. Wewe I think ni you.
Alphabet. Sorry.
Yeah. So that could explain, that could be one of the reasons, because civic education very minimal, the encouragement for you to have that sense of urgency and is not there.
Yeah.
So you get into the world and it's about yourself. Yeah, it's about what you can accumulate. Everything is really nice, and even if things are not going well, there's someone else who can deal with that. It's not exactly my
somebody should come and feel sufficiently philanthropic to pull you out of your status and elevate you.
Exactly.
And if they don't, then it's because you've done something wrong.
You've done something wrong, and if it's not addressed, then it's fine. It's okay. We'll find a way around it along the way. And then now you contrast that with the generations after, the Gen Zs and after, there's a lot of access to information. There are a lot of platforms for them to express themselves. The information is very, very readily available. So you find that they have more agency and they have more... they are more active within their communities, because then they've been given the kind of tools, they've been given the knowledge that they need. So you can imagine having this replicated in the next generations more and more. Then what kind of agency will we have as a generation, as a country, and as a community?
There is this process of actually owning the Constitution and understanding that it's actually meant for you as an individual, not us in the amorphous sense of the word. Because I belong to the generation where the presidency and the president trumped the Constitution, whatever it was, because the president was the Constitution. The president could decide as they saw fit, and they could make laws. Utterances were law. So that socialization discourages one from even bothering to understand what the Constitution actually says, because you figure, of what good will it be? However, if at a very early age one interacts with the Constitution and gets to the point of understanding that this really is the manual of operations that is useful for you from a legal perspective of how it is you interact with the people around you and the country, then it means that you have actually begun a process of building a population of people who will not just be law-abiding, but they'll be abiding by a law they understand.
Exactly.
And even when they disagree with it, that gives now room for further discussion on how to improve on that law.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And they can always choose how to change it, when to change it. Yeah, because because each generation, I often say also, each generation has to decide for itself. What was moral or allowed 10, 15, 50 years ago cannot pass now. And the things that we find agreeable now might not be agreeable to the Gen A's as they move along. So then we often say the Constitution is a living document, and then it is a reflection of where we are as a society, of our hopes and dreams. So then if it gets to a point where then now we do not like what it is providing, it's no longer reflecting where we are as a society, that is why now then you have provisions for amendment of the Constitution, so that then you are changing it as per, for it to reflect what you want for the society, for it to reflect what you want as a community. And I like what you said in terms of raising that generation. I believe there's a very good space for intergenerational conversations, so that now you have people, all the ones who participated in the making of the Constitution, the one who participated in the fight for independence, all these categories of people can then infuse in the young people these experiences. What was it that happened? How did we get here? What can be done better? What can you improve on as you move forward?
When the Constitution was written, there are many who said this is such a serious overhaul of the system that even the system itself doesn't recognize it. 14 years down the road, the system is now saying, what do you mean? Because this is what we are seeing. We are seeing a Constitution that did everything contrary to what was there before. What was there before was the system determining how it's going to engage the citizens, the information is going to give the citizens, how it's going to inculcate values, it will define the values, and this is it. And then the Constitution of Kenya says, actually the power is with the people, and they're the ones who determine everything. And the system is supposed to be conforming to the people. It is a difficult thing to do. And the system, as we are seeing, is fighting back. How do you ensure that we safeguard that even as the young people are consuming this?
It's remaining vigilant, because we've talked about culture and we've talked about value systems. The culture we have has been there for a while. We talk about tribalism, we talk about corruption, we talk about bad governance, and of course, looking at it also that there are other good things that have happened and continue to happen across the country. But then for these ones that we say collectively that need changing, it is going to take a while. You do not change a 50-year-old culture in a month or in 2 days. And if I could extend it to the engagements that we are having now, I think there's also, again, an opportunity for intergenerational conversations, including with what's happening now with our young people, because you understand the youthful zeal of I want it now. I want everything to change now. This has to change tomorrow, today, all these appointments and whatnot. But in the event that they sit around the table with older people, the people who've gone through these processes of multipartism and whatnot, they'll be told these things take a while. What you do not then need to lose is the momentum. You have to take care of yourself. You have to keep eternally vigilant. You have to do all these things to get you to this particular point.
But some things should happen now.
Yes, some things should happen now. And they'll be told that during our time, these are the things that happened now. And this is how it has changed society. This one took 5 years. The other one took 10 years. And then now you have those conversations. Without that, then it becomes a challenge for all of us as we move towards changing our culture.
Sandra, thank you for this beautiful conversation. And all the best as you continue engaging the young people, taking the Teens Guide to the Constitution of Kenya across the country.
Thank you very much.
Sandra Ochola Wakili is the author of that book, and say it's available in what books?
Nuria Bookstore.
Nuria Bookstore,
yes,
which also has an online platform.
Yes.
And you can then also make online orders.
And reach out to me on my social media handles. Then we can continue having these conversations, including on the Young Citizens program that's ongoing.
Sawa.
Yeah.
Have a lovely weekend, people. God bless you. We'll see you on Monday. It's 10 a.m.
State of affairs in the country. Blinken